You're watching the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Now it's time for the Brandon Austen Show.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. I am Austin Lane. Brett Martineau will be here momentarily. Had to do a last-minute change-up. Went from an away game to now a home game, which I'm not mad at whatsoever, man. I kind of like that home field advantage a little bit in that AC, my comfortable seat, my microphone. I prefer the home field advantage. Now, yesterday, we're outdoors in the shade. I'm not complaining about that. If I have AC, a comfortable chair, I'll do the show wherever. But there's nothing like being at home. Today we got, I think, let's go to the custody corner. Let's see what kid we got today pushing all the buttons. We got Bleak Bills pushing the buttons today. And Bleak Bills, I want to bring you in on something ASAP. Because, yes, we'll talk about sports, but something happened to me this morning, and it's happened to me before. I never really had the time to think about it, but here we are on a Tuesday, me just kind of sharing my thoughts a little bit. Bleak Bills, you've been out in public. You've been to grocery stores. You've been to sporting stores, I'm sure. You've been to maybe gyms. Yeah? Is that a safe assumption to assume?
That's correct.
Okay, cool. You ever had, so when you're walking to that door, you ever had somebody open the door for you? Like, someone hold the door while you're walking through?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's a standard, human decency protocol. Correct. You ever had somebody hold the door when you're maybe 50 yards away or like 40 yards away? Like, you're in the parking lot, they see you, and they still hold the door.
Yeah, that gets awkward.
Okay, yeah, exactly. I think you know where I'm going with this here. So today I'm going to the gym. It's a public gym, a lot of people. It's a great spot. Going to the gym. I'm in the parking lot, just kind of, dragging a little bit, a little early in the morning. I'm still waking up, a little stiff from last night's training session. And, this sweet lady holds a door open for me. Fantastic. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. The issue is that I was about 40 yards away from when she held the door open for me. So we made eye contact. So it's done now. I have to almost do this half-assed jog over to her because I'm not going to walk to the door because that's kind of disrespectful. So do you see what I'm saying here? If somebody holds the door open for you, do you kind of do this half-assed jog okay, well, I better get there quicker because they're being kind?
I guess you kind of feel obligated to. You
almost feel obligated to. And listen, if it was me, I would just say, hey, I'd wave you on and go, yeah, just go inside, I'll open the door for myself. But I'm waving her on. She's like, oh no, I got you. Then I'm like, all right, so let me do this half-ass jog thing. And this is the story of my life. I think people can relate to this a little bit. Donna Deegan, if you're listening, and I know you got a lot on your plate right now, but we have to implement something where if somebody is more than it's one thing if I'm 5 feet away, right? You hold it open for me. Oh, cool. Okay. I'll take one faster step and I'm through the door. But if I'm in the parking lot and you're on the sidewalk by the door, I'm not doing this jog thing anymore. I'm done. I'm tired. I don't want to do it. It's awkward. I feel awkward because do I do a full sprint because I'm an athlete? Do I just do a little hop and a skip? I have no idea how to handle myself in that situation. I know you're thinking, Austin, you're overthinking this. Yeah, I understand that I am, but these are the things that goes through my mind on a Tuesday morning at 7 o'clock.
No, nobody should be put in that predicament.
Okay, so so are you going to do the jog thing too if someone held it open for you? You doing the same thing?
I mean, I guess if they've really committed to holding the door for that long.
Yeah. And speaking of holding the door open, nobody held it open for Brent. I mean, he comes in here, big shot, but he still opens his own doors. Brent, have you been following what's been going on the show to start the show out? No. Okay. Brent Martineau, welcome to the show. So I'm going through a thing right now, Brent, where I've had it with people holding the door open for me when I'm 20 to 30 yards away from said door. Because once again, at the gym this morning, tired, just waking up, a little stiff, a little sore, still have to do my mobility to get warmed up. And this sweet lady, sweet as can be, held the door open for me when I was 30 yards in the parking lot. And I made eye contact with her. So in doing so, I had to do this half-assed awkward jog because I don't want to make her wait and I don't want to walk and be disrespectful. So I had to do this half-assed jog. And I'm tired of doing that jog, Brent. And trust me, I tried to wave her off saying, I'm good. Nope. Held the door open for me. Like, do you like? Are you that disrespectful where you would just walk if someone holds it open for you, or do you kind of have that pep in your step then when Oh,
you got to have some pep in your step.
yeah, and it's awkward.
And it is awkward. But I will say I would probably be that. I like holding doors for people.
Me too.
Like, I feel like I did something pretty nice, even if it's like, now that's an interesting clock in your head, right? Measurement in your head. Obviously, right there behind, no problem. Way down the road, all right. I mean, I'm not the doorman.
Sure.
And then there's that in between where you're like, I feel like I'm going out of my way right now to hold this door open.
Yeah,
They're gonna
really
appreciate it.
see. Like, I don't ever think about that, Brent. Like, if I hold the door open for somebody, like whether they walk or they Usain Bolt sprint through it, like I'm good either way. You know, like I'm doing something nice. But when it's reversed and I'm the one that's like walking towards that door, in my mind, I'm like, okay, if I keep on walking, it's going to be disrespectful. So like, let me go ahead and get this little power jog thing in real quick.
Yeah, I get it. But I like being the holder.
Awkward.
I know it's more awkward being the recipient, I think.
Yeah, of course.
Because when are you going to run? Now, you're coming out of you going into the gym?
I'm going to the gym.
I mean, get a little run in early, man.
Brent,
That's a little bit different than running like with stuff in your hands and backpacks and everything else.
I'm telling you, man, I have a little bit of a routine that I like to follow. I would like to get, just slow and steady in the morning.
That's how you get in there, right?
I don't like getting that little awkward jog.
You should be like, ma'am, I appreciate this, but I got a routine here. And I
tried waving her off. I waved her off. What more do you want from me? And then and that's the thing too. She's like, I mean, if I was gonna give her an awkward pat down, I'd probably put her at like 50, 60. So like she's up there in age. So like she's sweet. She has time. But once again, I'm trying to wave her off, and she's like, "Oh no, I got you." I'm like, "Okay, here we go with this, stuff."
You should have just turned around. Like, I forgot something. Thanks so much. That's your play the next time if you're upset by this.
The next time that happens, because it'll happen again. It always happens, The next time that happens again and I'm more than like 20 yards away, I'm just going to go, I've had it with this, and turn around and just go sit back in my car. I've had it with this. So, yeah.
I do feel accomplished holding the door for people, though. I will say it's one of the few things that just feels like you're doing something nice. I'm trying to think of something else that I do on a somewhat regular basis, and I'm like, okay, that kind of felt good.
Goes to show you where Brent Martineau's mind's at. All for himself. I'm trying to think about when I make people feel good. Hold the door open. That's good enough.
Well, again, like there's different levels of this.
Yeah.
I mean, there's holding the door open when you like actually should.
Yeah.
And I actually get kind of pissed off at some people that don't. I'm like, yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
That's very nice of you. Now, some people are just in their own little world. I try to be respectful of that.
Yeah.
But I will say probably I'm like, well, appreciate it.
I say we do. I might actually have to start doing this. Wear shades, because to me, it's all about the eye contact. Once you make the eye contact,
you're screwed.
It's on.
Yeah.
It's on and ready to rumble. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's Bruce Buffer going, it's time to start making your stupid jog to the door. But if you don't make eye contact, you're good. So I might wear my shades from now on when I'm going to any kind of store, any kind of gym. That way they don't know if I'm making eye contact or not. Maybe I'm looking like, past them or like on the ground or something.
That might be a good idea.
And I'm just going to do the slowest walk ever to that door.
All right. About what other areas do you get like pissed off at people for not doing something that you feel like they should do?
Oh, Brent, I mean, we can go all day. This can be our own separate little podcast on the stream. I can't stand it when I wave, like someone pulls out or something. I get no wave back.
Yeah.
Can't stand that.
I agree with that, by the way.
If someone's crossing in the street and maybe they have the right of way they're walking and I get no wave.
Yeah.
Got to have a courtesy wave.
We go on a lot of walks, by the way, and I got another random thought from a walk in a moment. But like we'll walk by some people. We will walk by some people sometimes. Like we'll literally walk by and they don't even like say anything. I'm like, I kind of want like a head nod's fine, a little hey wave, a little hi. Like sometimes people have AirPods in or whatever else in. Like I get it, but I don't know how you can walk by somebody in the neighborhood and not say hi. Like at least just like make an acknowledgement of some kind.
Yeah, for sure.
So the other one that gets me, and I'll get to Chad in a second, but the other one that gets me is I've on this new schedule. In fact, I just experienced it again. I'll go up because I come up 295, 9B, you know, and I'll take that new toll road, and because it's kind of easy floating by the traffic in the morning because now I got to deal with a little bit of traffic. But if you come in at like 8:30, 8:45, 9 o'clock, you're going to hit some traffic when you get off that right around the town center exit.
Sure.
If you come in at like 9:20, a little bit later, it's less. If you come in right now, like when I did, there's like nothing. It's amazing the difference. But at like 9 o'clock or 8:45 when I'm getting off, it's a log jam right there, right? Yeah. Now you got to get over after, if you guys know what I'm talking about, like the town center exit, kind of right after where you can merge onto like Butler Boulevard and stuff. You got to get over like 5 lanes.
Correct.
From that toll lane.
Yeah.
And you would think these people have somewhere to go to get another 10 feet up. They won't let you in.
Nah, it's like everyone's rushing to the hospital because they're having babies or something. Yeah, I know.
They're going chaotic. 2 miles an hour.
It's Mad Max.
I get so pissed. I'm like beeping at him. I'm like, you son. Like, I'm like, I might as well be in New York traffic right then.
Yeah.
I can't believe these people won't let you over. They're doing nothing. They're going nowhere. How about start your day with something nice, you moron?
Oh, yeah, Brent got him.
And it's a lot of them.
Oh, it's everybody now.
The morning drive people are the worst.
Sure.
Like, and again, this is newer experience for me. I've experienced the morning drive folks at times, but the morning drive people are the worst.
Yeah.
And I don't get it. The only thing I can figure out is that you're always late to work. The other thing is you hate going to work. But you're pissed off in the morning. You're driving the worst of any part of the day. And I don't understand why you must love your job that much that you're hustling. Like, they are the worst drivers in the morning.
Yeah.
And I don't like you.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for that. I didn't know where we're going there.
No, you're good, man. No, hey, that was the daily Brent Martineau breakdown of traffic. I don't know what it was, but like when I became an MMA fighter, for some reason I got a lot more patient with traffic and like how people act in traffic. I don't know what it was. Like I've been a lot more calm in traffic. Now, I had a guy give me the finger a couple days ago, and did I give it to him back? Well, yeah. I mean, you give me a finger, I give you a finger back. Like that's, come on. But besides that, yeah, I've been a lot more patient, I feel like, in traffic than I'm playing football.
You should get out of the car one day. These hands are illegal. All right, I'm going to forget my random. By the way, the chat is.
Yeah, people can relate.
Yeah, so Austin at the gym, I could tell his situation fueled his workout.
Oh, dude, I was almost. You know when you get so intense and you're almost in tears. I was almost
really
at that point.
But
okay, well, yeah, no, I'm kidding, but I wasn't in tears. But it definitely fueled me for sure, man. I was locked in.
Yeah, Z Fortner, it is kind of crazy. He goes from 4 to 2 there, and not only that, now there's more traffic after that part of the town center. That's really the holdup.
Well, hey, I mean, long lesson short, don't go to the town center though, right? You know.
Well,
like,
yeah,
don't.
I mean, people are they have to go up that way. I'm not saying get off the town center. It's just around that town center spot.
Yeah.
But the town center is a different story.
It's a lot.
So here's my random thought of the day before we just started off. Since we're on a roll here early, we'll get to, come on, we'll talk football. We'll talk other stuff. We got plenty of topics here. Brent Austen Show on a Tuesday. Rob, you have a dog?
Who's Rob?
Dachshund.
Dachshund.
Talking about Bleak Bills?
My wife will like that. Yeah.
Wait, is that like a wiener dog?
Yeah.
Huh, it's awesome.
Yeah. Steph had those growing up. She loves those.
What's their name?
It's a Bailey.
Ah, nice.
She's 12 years old.
Oh.
Wow. 12 years old.
It's a long life.
Getting up there.
Is that still, do we all believe in that? Is that still a thing in dog years, like 84 years old dog years? Is that about right?
Yeah.
7, right?
Yeah.
7's the year?
Oh, is it really? I didn't know that.
I always I heard that. I don't know if I'm making that up or not, but I always assumed that's what it was. So I was thinking this in the neighborhood. We're walking yesterday, and I'm seeing like there's a bunch of traffic in the neighborhood on the walk yesterday. Not a lot, but there were a few. And so 2 people had a dog going each side, right? So one's walking this way, one's walking that way, and they're walking their dog.
Okay.
And this is what I think about sometimes. I'm watching the dog. I'm like, how's this going to go? Right?
Well, are these what kind of dogs are talking here?
Yeah.
Well, are they small dogs? One big, one small?
No, like both medium-sized dogs.
Okay.
Look,
same size, same weight class?
Yeah, look like they don't want to eat anybody.
Okay.
For
same weight
dinner,
class is important. Okay, I like it.
Look like nice, friendly dogs.
Got you.
And so I'm like, all right, how's this going to work? In my mind, I'm like, how's this going to go? Because sometimes, it's like, hey, time to take the owner on a ride here. Right? And so they kind of like have a little playful, almost like interaction.
Okay.
And then everybody just keeps on their merry way. Like nobody even stopped. It was a very quick interaction. And so in my mind, I'm like, why do dogs do that? Like when I can't even get a wave from another human sometimes when I'm walking by.
Yeah.
But the dogs are like, there's some magnetic field.
Yeah.
Right? To be attracted to at least go like, have a little playful moment.
Yeah.
Like, why do dogs do that and humans don't?
Because think about it, man. How many humans do we, we're humans, yeah?
Yeah.
How many humans do we see in a day?
A lot.
Okay. If you're a dog, you spend what? Maybe half your time, 3/4 of your time indoors.
Yeah.
How many dogs do you really see on a daily basis?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh, man, I just crushed that.
That's good.
Oh, man.
That's fair.
Wow. Mr. Science, tell us more. I got you, Brent. Don't worry. So I just think that dogs, they're not accustomed to seeing. I mean, like, I also feel like dogs kind of have short memories. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know the science behind that, but I think so.
Yeah. Because, like, think about it. If
they do, because I've always said, like, why don't they know when the 4th of July exists? I know everybody hates, like, the fireworks. Like, you'd think the dogs would know it was coming.
Yeah,
by
true.
this. But, by the time you're 7 years old, and dog like that's like 49.
Yeah. And
figure
plus,
it out.
The dogs are always pumped about life, too. Like, to think, you ever had a dog or not?
Yeah, when I was younger.
And Blake Bills, you relate to this. Like, it doesn't matter if you're gone for a minute or 10 hours. Like, it makes no difference. That dog will come up to you and always say, "What's up?" And they're always happy to see you because they're always pumped on life.
Now that I'm thinking about it, and I like this, I appreciate you guys talking about this out loud. We're not even at Furniture Source, but it's a good couch session. It's a lot like if you have kids and you're doing that, like in like they'll probably reach out like in a stroller too.
Oh yeah,
right? So
yeah,
very
yeah.
similar to I like your lack of interaction. This is like something new. What is this? Right?
Yeah.
Whereas us people, we already know what people.
No, for sure. I think dogs and like children, babies, toddlers, they have the same stokeness of life.
Yeah.
Like it's little things that make you pumped up. Like my son, when he was like 4 or 5, you give him a cardboard box and he's going insane
Pots
for
and pans.
a week straight.
Yeah.
Just, dude, a cardboard box? Yeah, let me go ahead and make like 10 different things out of this.
Yeah.
It's a cave. It's a spaceship.
That's a good call.
Psyched on life. When we get older, it's like, bills, marriages, we have kids, rent's due, car broke down, work,
flipping
bosses,
off the guy driving,
co-hosts, all this stuff. And it kind of takes, it's depressing now to talk about, and I'm depressed, but it takes the joy out of things. Yeah. Like dogs have joy 24/7 and kids have joy.
Yeah.
There we go, man. Wow.
Good job. Way to solve that. I feel better about that.
Yeah.
I said it was going to be, I said it to Steph. She wasn't really amused by my random thought, so I had to bring it up to somebody.
Brent's got to come to the show just so he's heard. Yeah, I hear you. Without a doubt, man.
By the way, Mr. Hugo, your dachshund will be 18 next month. What's 18 times 7? 6 times 7, 42.
Math,
84,
thought we had a rule.
16. That's 126, I think.
Wow. That's
Somebody
insane.
check me, but that's an old dog.
Yeah.
126.
Is that how dog years work at 7?
I was always assumed that,
It's
and then now
7.
Bleak Bills just verified it for me. What'd you say?
It's roughly 7 years.
Roughly 7 years.
Dang.
126 years old.
126. Yeah, I was right.
Wow.
That was good math.
A dog must
better than Hamby at math.
That dog must be vegan and do meditation every single day or something, like body optimization.
What's the years calculation on a bee? Considering they live for 5 months.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
So 1 month is equal to 20 years.
Yeah, I'd probably say so. Sounds about right.
It's a wild calculation.
Yeah.
Talk about animals on the show. I'm like, man, they were so smart to do animal movies, and they are.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, from bee movies to the dog movies to everything, it's so smart to do it from their perspective.
Yeah.
And I'm not surprised at all it works because it's fascinating.
Yep.
A bee lives for about 30 days, by the way.
What's that?
A bee lives for 30 days.
30. Yeah, some do. Listen.
So we've been down this.
I know you're new to this conversation, but if there's one subject matter we know a lot. Well, I shouldn't say we. Austin knows a lot about, and I've been educated on. It's bees.
Oh yeah.
And drone bee versus honeybee?
Drone bee versus worker bee.
Worker bee, sorry.
There you go, man.
Drone bee versus worker bee. Look it up, Rob, and then come up with your answer.
Yeah, I kind of thought they were the same thing.
Nah,
not really.
Drone bees. The only job of the drone is to have sex with the queen, and the job of the worker is to go out, get pollen, collect it and everything, the nectar, bring it back to help facilitate the babies and make honey.
That's right. But the drone bee dies after
doing
the deed.
Yeah.
So, you pick your lifestyle.
I'm sure. Yeah, pick your lifestyle.
That's it.
And I said, yeah,
Can we make a shirt? Drone bee versus
worker bee?
Worker bee. That would get people thinking. I feel like it could be like, you asked me about my baseballism shirts sometimes.
Yeah.
There's some hidden messaging going on.
Sure.
I feel like we could do that.
Like worker over drone or drone over worker, something like that.
Yeah.
Don't even say the B. Just yeah. Jeez. Yeah, we got something there, maybe.
Come on, we could be onto something. Yeah. One last thing on the dogs. The calculation depends on the breed. Small dogs have a longer lifespan than large dogs.
Probably like humans too, right?
Yeah. So I would imagine. So the calculation would be not 7 years for a dachshund, is my guess. So really, the dachshund's not 126.
Yeah.
All right, we're off and running. Meanwhile, we're talking about 24-year-old Trevor Lawrence. How about that when we come back? Let's take a break. Just getting rolling on the show. We hear from Trevor Lawrence. We hear from Doug Peterson. Angel Reese sounds off on the whole Caitlin Clark situation, and a lot more of things happening here on a Tuesday on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. By the way, you're seeing Baker Sports here, which this is leftover from Friday when we were recording some shows. Kevin Sullivan, Josh Baker debut a new show today at 2 o'clock on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. It's called After the Game. We're looking forward to that. The stories from the sidelines from a lot of different coaches. I think you're going to love it. So make sure you check it out, especially if you're in the world of coaching or high school sports or really any level sports. You're going to like that. We'll be back on the Brent Austen Show here on a Tuesday. Everyone loves a good game night. Here you don't have to be the host. You don't have to clean up. They bring the food and drinks to you, and you can watch whatever you want on the big screens. It's more than a card room. It's a night full of fun with friends. Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now the newest location here in St. Augustine, right off 95 at exit 311. A brand new clean room, a full bar and menu, my favorite sushi in town. And I love the fries too. You don't have to just play poker at Best Bet. That's why I come over here to the table games and play one card poker. That's a pretty good card and a win. One card poker is like war as a kid, you against the dealer. And this isn't the only fun table game to play. A friendly staff, a lot of fun. It's a good night out at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and the newest location in St. Augustine. You can be a serious player or a novice. It doesn't matter. If winning equals fun, you're a winner every time at Best Bet. I'll save you a seat, and I'll see you down here at Best Bet St. Augustine.
Oh, man, it is that time. I love being outside, but it is just so hot. Oh, my gosh, I cannot be outside. Well, you know, it doesn't have to be. As a matter of fact, I've got the perfect solution for you to be able to stay outdoors and not look like this guy.
GW Outdoor Solutions has the solution that will help you create areas of shade with their automated retractable awning. As the summer months inch closer, the high temperatures will be right there too. With GW Outdoor Solutions, go from scorching to cooling in no time with one simple push of a button. These innovative shade solutions not only provide protection from the sun and rain, but also add style and functionality to your home. Let GW Outdoor Solutions transform your backyard into paradise. Check out gwoutdoorliving.com for your free estimate.
I like to say everybody has a story, and sometimes we're a part of other people's stories. That's the case here at Nimnicht Buick GMC. My family and the Nimnicht family. We've purchased 6 different vehicles from Nimnicht Buick GMC. Maybe you're in the market for a truck. Well, let me tell you about the GMC Sierra. I absolutely love mine. I've had a couple of these. This one's a 2020, but right now on 2024 GMC Sierras here at Nimnicht Buick GMC, there's special financing. A year ago, we purchased a GMC Terrain for the kids. Financing rates as low as 0.9% for eligible buyers on Terrains and no payments for 90 days. Looking for used instead of new? Buy a used car with the Car Bravo program. Nimnicht Buick GMC certifies all makes and models. Let the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville take care of you and your family. Come on out and see the showroom, meet the fantastic people, or shop online at nimnichtbuickgmc.com. Nimnicht, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
It's hard to put a price on comfort, especially when you use that comfort on a daily basis. But if we're going to put a price on it, how does the lowest price guaranteed sound?
Furniture Source is going to have the biggest brands, whether it's Ashley, Casper, or Tempur-Pedic, and once again, it's going to be the guaranteed lowest price in Jacksonville. Right now, my friends at Furniture Source are going to give you the ultimate hookup because all month long, they're making their inventory wholesale price. Check out their markdowns up to 50% off. And remember, since it's Furniture Source, you're getting the guaranteed lowest prices in Florida or your money back. Don't have the cash on you right now? It's no worry. Shop endless options to suit your style and budget and enjoy 36 months off with no interest financing. Why use your money when you can use theirs? Whether it's beds, couches, tables, or chairs, Furniture Source is going to have exactly what you're looking for. Shop the lowest prices in Jacksonville guaranteed. Find the location nearest you at FurnitureSourceJacks.com.
It's a new logo, new branding. With Bold City Heating and Air, it's an old school approach. One of the few locally owned and operated air conditioning businesses left in Jacksonville.
It's hot, Florida in the summer. You can't do much to avoid it, but you can keep cool with Bold City Heating and Air.
It's every customer counts kind of service, from when these trucks have pulled up to my home over the last couple of years and when they pull into your driveway as well. From communication to pricing to the actual service, everyone at Bold City Heating and Air cares about you. You know who is coming to your house. You know they will be well trained and they will respect your home. Air conditioning convenience at BoldCityAC.com.
Stay cool while it gets hot. Bold City Heating and Air can help. Don't get caught sweating all summer. BoldCityAC.com. And they have financing to help. New systems starting at $110 a month and $50 off any repairs.
Stay safe, stay comfortable with Bold City Heating and Air at BoldCityAC.com. Homegrown in your hometown.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
There's a look at the Miller Electric Center, and Jaguars have another OTA today and wrap up this week. Of course, mandatory minicamp coming up next week. We are going to be out there at that, but we're done for the week in terms of the Jags. Look at that. Now that's a director Rob right there. That's Bleak Bills.
Did
you see that transition?
Not bad,
That's good
man.
stuff. That's a guy that pushes a lot of buttons in TV land. I'm not sure Hamby can do that.
Yeah.
I mean, he probably can, but I'm going to say he can't.
Bleak Bills, is it harder on TV because it's a lot more buttons, or is it actually harder like on the stream here?
It's much harder on TV.
Okay.
What he said is this is easy.
Well, it's just
So then
it's a new thing. So
I don't understand what
used to it.
Hamby's excuse is. Then okay.
Hamby's excuses.
I'm kidding.
In fairness, is he doesn't do Rob's job on TV.
Oh, he doesn't? I thought they were doing kind of.
So Rob directs and pushes all the buttons, which I think is the hardest job in the building.
Okay.
Especially in when a lot of stuff's happening in that.
There's a lot of multitasking.
Yeah, a lot of multitasking, listening, pushing, but listening to multiple people.
Yeah.
But he would be listening sometimes to the producer, which is Hamby.
Gotcha.
So that's the setup. And see what's crazy about the business is when I first got into the business, of course, there's a lot of it was on whatever tapes and all that stuff. I'm now that old guy. But Rob, how long have you been in the business?
About 20 years.
Oh, you've been in 20 years. So when you started, was there a technical director?
Not here, no.
There wasn't here. Wow, we've been like that this whole time?
We've done directing and technical directing the entire time.
Really? So when I first started, well, I wouldn't say first because I was in Alexandria, Louisiana, and I'm sure we were doing everything by ourselves.
Okay.
It was small.
Okay.
But when I went to Providence, this would have been in 2000, right around 2000.
Okay.
And so when you go back to that control room, there's a producer. A lot of times there'd be an assistant producer.
Okay.
There'd be the director, which is Rob's job. And then there'd be another guy that actually pushed the tapes. So the director was calling the shots and maybe would push some buttons, but the technical director would be the guy actually, again, it's tapes at the time, not all this online stuff or nonlinear stuff, but it'd be that extra guy.
Okay.
Well, that job morphed into the director doing it.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So the director now is the guy calling the shots and pushing the buttons.
I
and like you said,
tapes as an editor here also.
You did? So that's the multitasking.
Okay.
That's another thing that's wild. It's so wild to think back to those days where you'd have like a stack of tapes.
Okay.
So in the sports, if you go 4-minute sportscast, and you'd have
VHS tapes.
I mean, you'd be walking, like our video room was like on the other side of what I would say the other side of the building. But let's just say from art right here to the studio.
Okay.
So you got to walk. It's a decent walk. And sometimes you're running to get it to them in time. And it's like you're carrying a thing like this, and then all of a sudden you drop them. So now you got to put them back in order.
Oh, yeah.
Worst sportscast I remember doing in my life when I was new at it was something like that happened.
Okay.
Where we had one of these sportscasts where we had like the high school state championships.
Yeah.
And so we had a million tapes. We were like the way they did it in Rhode Island, it was like all on the same day. So it was like Class A, then sound. Class B, sound. Class C, sound. Like all these different games. Now, the one other thing about doing high school sports is you don't know the kids. If you mix up a whole bunch of NFL games, you know the NFL guys by the way they look, right? By the numbers that they have.
True.
Like you have no idea who Johnny Smith is.
Yeah,
and if he's playing for Coventry or LaSalle or whatever. Those are a couple of Rhode Island schools. Okay. And so the tapes got messed up. Like off by one in that sportscast. It was a disaster.
I'll do it.
It was a disaster. I mean, it was an epic disaster. Could not get back on track. And it was one of these, like, forget about 3 minutes. We needed more time that day, so it was like a 6-minute sportscast.
Sure.
I got to go find that disaster.
That's funny, man.
It was a mess. You live and learn, baby.
Live and learn,
Live
man.
and learn.
Live and learn.
All right. Let's talk some football. Trevor Lawrence talking about his contract. Listen, it's a story until it's not a story. It feels like it's a story that is going to have a conclusion before the start of the year.
Yep.
I don't think anything's changed, right? I mean, we all still feel the same way. We can revisit this a million different ways, but I mean, we can debate whether he deserves to, whether you can debate whether he should, how much he should get. We can debate all these different things. We debated the last couple of days about expectations and has he delivered and will he deliver? But the bottom line is, we feel like he's getting a deal before the start of the season, correct?
I would think so, yes.
Yeah.
I
can't imagine, but with what's being said and discussed, to me, this is one of the most open, big-time contracts that I can remember. Now, I wasn't there for the Burrow one and the Lamar one and the other stuff, but I will have noticed, and I wonder if you've noticed the same thing. I don't think every contract negotiation is contentious.
Okay.
But I also think there's always like a little bit of a feel of I'm building leverage in a contract negotiation, even from the player. It feels like, there's a little mystery, right? Or build the drama or whatever that might be. Because when you're the guy, at least as a player, your people are doing the job for you in terms of this negotiation.
Yeah.
So you don't want to give up too much in front of a microphone, right? So you're not going to say a lot about it. But I always feel like there's like, is this going to get done? Or is there a little more of this going on behind the scenes? What's wild to me, at least in the Trevor discussions, when Doug's talked about it, when Trevor's talked about it now multiple times, when Bulky's talked about it, I feel none of that.
Yeah.
I feel like this is like an in unison deal. And I wonder if some of that, Austin, is the makeup of where he's been at. He's not a 2-time MVP going into these negotiations that has maybe every bit of possible leverage.
Sure.
He's a guy that they obviously believe in, and he believes he can be this guy for a long time.
Yeah.
But the resume, as we've discussed, is a little up and down at times. So is that why we don't feel any of that potential contention in this relationship, or is it just Trevor's makeup?
I think, so if I'm negotiating for Trevor Lawrence and I'm the agent, I'm not necessarily going to all the stats because the stats don't tell the story. What I would go to is the adversity he had to overcome in said years. He had to overcome the Urban Meyer stuff. He had to overcome an offensive line that was porous in the pass game. He had to overcome wide receivers being injured. He had to overcome injuries himself. Like, that's what I'm going with, right? Because, once again, if you go just based off stats alone, then people are going to throw the Gardner Minshew comparisons and people are going to throw all these other quarterbacks. So, well, they have similar stats. And from a national perspective, that's what people want to do. But you got to go to the bigger story of how did you get to those stats?
Yeah.
So to answer the question, like, Listen, whether it's Trent Baalke, dealing with the situation, Doug Peterson, I mean, they know what good quarterback play is. They know what good leadership is. I think they know if a quarterback has it or not. Right now, Doug Peterson making arguments, say the whole Jalen Hurts saga. Should you have started Nate Sudfeld over Jalen Hurts? Probably not.
Yeah.
You probably could have kept rolling with Jalen Hurts, but maybe Jalen Hurts is now a better quarterback because of having to get on the bench a little bit. Who knows? But I think with Trevor Lawrence, it's got to be more of the expectations in the future as opposed to what you've accomplished in the past.
Yeah. So it'll be, I like, and I don't know, we read into a lot of this stuff, right? I'm just talking body language and comfort. And right now I feel a lot of comfort. The reason why I say this is like Evan Ingram's situation taught me a lot.
Sure.
Evan Ingram was a deal that, man, did he want to get it done, right? He loved being here. They loved having him. We thought it was going to get done. It had to be used a franchise tag, whether that was his agent, whether that was the Jags, whether the price tag, the different market for tight ends, which was last year different than maybe we even anticipated. That carried out a little bit deeper into the summer. And then when we talked to Evan this year at the Pro Bowl in Orlando, he even kind of hinted like, hey, man, that kind of like a little more, maybe this isn't going to happen than I ever thought it was going to. And I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he kind of got that feel from what he said. Like, there was a couple of times in there it was like, okay, this isn't a slam dunk. I don't feel any of that yet. I mean, I'm sure there's always that when you're talking about a huge number and where you're going to land, but it just feels very peaceful at the moment.
Yeah.
And that's my read on it, which, again, I don't know what the heck it means. I'm just telling you that's my read on the way these guys are reacting to it and talking about it. So let's get to Trevor talking about his contract situation and the latest from him. Obviously, he's not revealing all the details and anything else, but I think he continues to say one thing. He would love it to happen.
Yeah, obviously I'm aware of what's going on, but I try to keep my focus on doing my job out here. I have full belief that'll take care of itself, and that's not something that I need to worry about. That's why I pay people and hire people to do that for me. So that's not my job, but obviously I know what's going on. I'm aware of the situation. I think that's important too. But yeah, I try to keep all my focus and energy on being the best player I can be to help us win.
Is it important to you to get done before camp or before the season or at all? Do you have any timetable at all?
I mean, yeah, I think that would be ideal, just to put it behind us and keep moving and feel good about that going into training camp. But either way, like I've said before, I have the same job. So, I can't always control all those factors, but I have the same job to do either way. But yeah, I mean, I would, of course, that'd be ideal is to get it done, as soon as you can and kind of move forward.
Well, there you go. I mean, that's a minute long on what you're going to get out of Trevor's deal. Very similar to what he was talking about the last time he talked, which would have been in April. So we're talking about almost 2 months ago when he last talked to the media about it. And I thought he was very open in that session a couple months ago. So, I mean, a lot of it would be reiterating the same things. Again, my summary on this is, yeah, it's going to happen. I think it happens before camp. I don't know if I feel strongly that it happens before camp or the season. I'm not really sure which one, and I'll ask you about that in a moment.
Yep.
But I also just feel like this is a stride together to get to a deal. Like this is not I got to win versus you got to win. This is we got to win deal. And when you're talking about this kind of money, I don't think that's always a thing in sports. But maybe it was. Maybe it was in Joe Burrow's case. Maybe it was in Herbert's case. It's really hard until you're living it every day and talking about it every day like we do with Trevor to know. And this is such an historic deal. We don't have precedent for it here in Jacksonville. Yeah. So, I mean, even the Josh deal felt a little clunky at times because back in January, the whole soundbite of Trent Baalke, like, we haven't even talked to him yet.
Yeah, I mean, the optics feel better with this one than they did for Josh Allen. Yeah, because
of transparency.
Well, and keep in mind, like Josh Allen was coming off of a monumental season where it's like, I mean, there was no debate about it. Do you pay him or not? Like, yeah, you have to pay him. Like, you have to compensate him for what he did on the field. So when the conversation is, well, I didn't hear from his people at all. Yeah, you're going to kind of raise an eyebrow a little bit and say, well, why haven't you? Like, this should be priority number one right now. Like, yeah, you have your draft stuff going on, the combine stuff, but like priority number one should have been signing Josh Allen.
Yeah, so I think it feels. I don't think that one was super contentious either. By the way, I think there were some guidelines for it. It would be interesting to see behind the scenes and how that went. And even the thing about this, I always say, is players don't even know.
Yeah.
Because this is really between their camps. I mean, Trevor said it. He pays people to do this. I feel like I pay people to do stuff too, but I still end up doing it. Maybe I should take Trevor's place.
Get him, Brent. Get him, Brent.
Just felt like an easy thing to say.
I
like that flex. I like pay people to do it.
Yeah.
Which he does. I mean, that's why you have agents, right?
For sure.
All right. So the last part about this for me, again, I mean, we could sit here and talk about Trevor and spin our wheels on the contract. I think everybody knows what it is.
Yeah.
But does it matter if it gets done, or is it? What's the significance, or what's the holdup of getting done before camp versus before the season? Let's just assume it gets done. The timing of it, does it matter to him? Does it matter to the team? Does it matter to the locker room? As long as it gets done, let's just say by Labor Day.
So, I mean, I think ideally from a team perspective, from Trevor Lawrence's side, they want to get it done before the season. They want to get it done, preferably during, I would say, like, before the preseason game starts, right? Because that way, okay, I'm paid, I'm the leader of this franchise, I'm the guy going forward, I'll be here for many years to come. Like, it almost like kind of takes a weight off your back a little bit, especially from the most important position in all of football. So if that's the dialogue that you're having, then yeah, you want to get him paid as soon as possible because you want to go into training camp. You want to go into the preseason games, and you obviously want to go into week 1 of the regular season knowing that, all right, Trevor got paid, he's our guy, now let's go.
Yeah, I don't know if I have a strong feeling about it. That's why I asked you.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm like, okay, from a play, like, I don't know. Is Josh Allen care? Do other people care? Is Calvin Ridley? Is Christian Kirk looking? Like, are players looking like? I just don't. We're talking about July 24th versus September. I don't even know the date, but let's just throw out September 5th. Okay. I mean, that's like a 6-week span. Does that matter when it comes? I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not sure if that's a locker room dynamic, a Trevor dynamic. Does it hang over your head a little bit? I don't sense that it will. I feel like because this is early anyway, it's not like we're up against the clock as long as it gets done. Now, if it doesn't get done by Labor Day, I start to wonder a little bit about the dynamic of this thing because you now know it won't get done most likely in the season. People don't do these deals in the season.
Not really, no. And even if you were like, so as a player, I mean, because this is what it's all about, Brent, right? It's about security. I mean, it's about a lot of things, but one of the biggest things is security because knock on wood, injuries can happen, right? So if you're a player and you're on the verge of a contract, you want that contract done as soon as possible because injuries can happen. Freak things can happen. Go ask Aaron Rodgers. Now, I'm not, saying that Trevor Lawrence is Aaron Rodgers, but like, we didn't foresee Aaron Rodgers running out in the field with a plague and playing 2 plays or 3 plays, whatever it was, and then being out for the year. Like, things can happen. So if I'm a player, I'm trying to get paid as soon as possible and not wait till halfway through the season, not wait till week 1, week 2, like as soon as possible.
Yeah, I think that part is very interesting to me. It's when it gets done. Okay, I'm not totally unclear. In fact, if I had to predict, I'm going to be gone for a lot of this month, and that's when it's going to get done. So,
yeah.
Like, that's why it's going to get done when I'm probably not here. But I do wonder if there's significance. But really, the significant part is, and really this hits a different level, because there's so much transparency, this is where it could backfire. There's not just noise about it, the possibility of it, all this stuff. But if it doesn't get done by the start of the season, I'm not telling you that like ruins the relationship and all of a sudden this becomes high drama. I just do think it takes a little bit of a different tone because now it's like, hey, they couldn't get it done. And now you are carrying that. And I don't know how, listen, if you're carrying a lottery ticket, to your point, it's one thing to carry it for the next 2 months. It's another thing to carry it for another 8 months while you got guys trying to kill you in the pocket.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
I mean, that, even from a comfort level for Trevor, like that part, I don't think he can even hide that. I don't think there's a subconscious there about that. if it doesn't get done by the start of the season now, because again, there's been so much, hey, this feels like it's going to happen. I mean, we all know this about life, right? Mm-hmm. If there's something that feels like it's going to happen and you're kind of almost into the point where you've planned it to happen and it doesn't, there's a major disappointment there.
Sure.
There's like this huge letdown. And that can be a variety of things, from getting paid to an event to whatever. And I don't think you can block that, even if it's Trevor. And by the way, at the tune of this kind of money. So that's, to me, where this thing gets a little bit interesting if by Labor Day, let's just say, he doesn't have a deal done. And that's why I also fully anticipate him getting a deal done, because I could see a guy like Trevor being like, listen, who cares, man? Let's just get it done. Like, okay, they only want to give me 52 instead of 53. So what? I want this done. Like, because that's where the player, I think, does come into play. Like, your agent and everybody else taking care of business, that's fine. But the player at some point can be like, I do not want this hanging over my head. Let's go.
True, but also keep in mind, I mean, the agent's job is to make their client happy, yes. But the agent has a reputation, too, to be like, because this deal will then set the precedent for other deals down the line, possibly with that agent. Right? So the agent's job is to try to get as much money as possible because, well, they kind of have a reputation to protect as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, but at the end of the day, Trevor's going to win out. Like, if we're talking $1 million here, $1 million there difference, I think that the peace of mind and getting, that weight off your shoulders could be worth $1 million every year.
Mr. Hugo jumps in, by the way, and we have seen this. We're actually going to have Kevin Sullivan on a little bit later in the show to talk about this. This is a complicated but historic ruling in high school sports. It just happened, so we'll get some more information throughout the show on it. But the FHSAA has approved unanimously NIL deals, which... There's a lot of they had a meeting this morning. There was a lot of conversation. There's a lot of back and forth the last couple of weeks. I don't understand why they even had a conversation. I mean, you knew this. If it was unanimous, then why do we even vote? I mean, why were we even debating it? They obviously had this thing done before it even entered. What does it mean for high school sports? That's a deeper dive, right? And should it be happening? That's a deeper dive. So we'll get into that in just a little bit. But I want to collect, since it's happening right now, I haven't been able to see everything on it. So I just don't want to speak out of turn. And again, we'll have Kevin Sullivan hopefully join us, who ironically is at Jags OTAs today. It's not open to the media, but sometimes they'll let some coaches in and former coaches. He's going there. And then he'll join us to actually talk about his new show coming up here on the network, but also this NIL deal and what it means, because it's a monumental day, obviously, in high school sports. When it comes to name, image, likeness, it is now not just a college thing. Mm-hmm. It's a high school thing as well. I want to stay on Trevor Lawrence a little bit, and we've got some more reaction from yesterday. Obviously, that's all the conversation about the contract, and there's been plenty of it. What about improvement in the offseason? This is a guy that's going into year 3 in this system, year 4 of his career. There's a lot that goes into that. Some off-season improvement from Trevor Lawrence, Rob, if you don't mind.
I mean, I think we've gotten a lot better. Just the way, the tempo, the intensity that we've had in OTAs has been definitely a step up of the past couple years. I know that was the point of emphasis for us, is to really take advantage of this time that we get. Because come training camp, you want to feel like you're on your way to being a well-oiled machine. Obviously, you have work to do, but you want to use this time, maximize it. So when you get to training camp, you feel like you're a step ahead of where we were last year, even just other teams around the league. You want to try to get every advantage you can, and I think taking advantage of these practices is important.
Get to Trevor on Brian Thomas Jr. in just a moment, but before, just a quick thought on that. I think this is what I thought about when I heard that soundbite earlier or yesterday. I always am interested that I think the sports world works different than our business world in a lot of ways. Because I think we just keep moving, right? In business especially, right? We just keep moving. We keep moving. Like, we're trying stuff new. We try to stay rejuvenated. We try to stay passionate about it. We're on to the next thing. They throw more stuff on our plate. Like, you're just always moving, right? I think that's a little bit different in the professional sports world, in Trevor's world. I mean, football's still football. The calendar, at least as of now, is still the calendar. Like, they're not all of a sudden asking you to play baseball and football, right? Like, there's not those kind of things. So in the business world, outside of statistical metrics, do we know we're better than we were last year? Like, do I have any idea that I've grown from last May and June?
I would say so, yes. Like, I mean, as a team, like, I say you have for the players that you brought in, yes. Like, you're a better team than last year.
Yeah,
I think
the football team is.
Yeah,
I'm
but
asking you
so
in the
your
business
growth.
world.
Oh, okay.
Do I know that I'm like I don't think about that at all. That's what I'm getting to.
Yeah,
I can sit here in my life and I don't think about, hey, yeah, I'm much better or we're much well. On occasion, I'll drop back and think about it, but more of a broader picture, right? I'm gonna even think about it 3 months ago, like where we were with the new network compared to right now. Like I'll do that a lot probably in the next few weeks.
I mean, we may not personally know it, but we know it based off of the perception around us.
Yeah, maybe that's you get that kind of feedback feel.
Correct.
So that soundbite that he's like, yeah, we're going up tempo more. Like we have a better pace to our practice. Like it's noticeably different.
Yeah.
I just think it's interesting that he can feel that and notice that. And I wonder if that's more an individual thing. Does that say more about the team? Now, he said about the team. I'm just saying, is that an individual thing because he's more comfortable? Or is that something that, hey, Doug's system, we know what to expect. We got veteran guys that have been in it, like guys that are playing with a chip now compared to last year? Like, what does that say? I don't know.
I mean, yeah, it's hard to judge based off that, but like one would assume that he is more comfortable now in a system. I mean, you know, especially like, for instance, with defensive ends, it takes a couple years to get acclimated. With quarterbacks, there's really no telling how long it takes. You know, I think some quarterbacks can come in right away and do the dang thing. I think some quarterbacks, given their situations, the players around them, it takes a couple of years. So maybe he has found, you know, kind of another year of just having to go through trial and error, but now he's a lot more confident in what he can do. But also, we've heard echoes, we've heard people say, like, it could be a more simplified playbook this year on offense.
Yeah.
Right? And if that's the case, if it's more simplified, you're not thinking so much. Well, not thinking so much equals playing faster, playing looser. So maybe there's a combination of that as well.
Well, from his perspective, too, maybe some of this has to do with ownership of the offense. I'll get to Brian Thomas in a moment, Rob, but let's go, if you can, get to the owning the offense, because this is what he has to do. Like, it's got to be his offense. We talked about this, and I actually think this is one of my favorite conversations we've had. Like, where do you go from this is Doug Peterson's offense to this is Press Taylor's offense last year to this is obviously a collaboration. We all know that. They're going to say that, Mike McCoy, everybody, to know this is Trevor's offense, right? And owning that offense and knowing the ins and outs of it, knowing the whys of it, knowing what I like, don't like, being able to tell Doug, who's got a Super Bowl trophy, and it's his offense, no, man, I don't like that.
Yeah.
That's harder than you think it is, maybe, right? I mean, you got to tell your boss, no, this doesn't fit well. You have to be comfortable to be able to do that.
Correct.
And I think that is what he now believes is happening here in Jacksonville. Here's Trevor Lawrence on owning the offense.
I think another year in the system, just owning it more and more every year. And I feel like this year especially I've been able to express more of things that I like, want to do more of, maybe things I don't like or whatever it is, and been able to communicate a lot with the coaches, which has been great. So I think just owning the offense more and more every year is the key, and it's going to help me get better and have a really good grasp of what we're doing, what we're trying to do, the things that we need to improve on. I feel like I'm really in sync with the staff and kind of what the goals are and what we wanted to accomplish this offseason. And then going into training camp, obviously it's going to be, you know, another list of things. But no, I feel really good, and that's the goal, is to get better every year. So I feel like, yes, I'll get better this year, and I'm excited for it.
See, like what he's saying there to me, that in sync nature of the staff, I love that word, because I think of Travis Kelce and Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, and I just can't get out of that phrasing when I think about those guys, when I watch those guys. They are so on the same page, right? Will we see that here in Jacksonville soon enough this year? When does that take place? How long does that take place? That is not an overnight thing. Whether you want it to be or not, that's not an overnight thing. That's a maturation, and time has to help that, right? That's the only thing that can really help, that time and reps and everything else. But I like that phrasing from Trevor Lawrence. And by the way, when it comes to this is the CEO part. This is what we say about franchise quarterbacks. This is why he's going to get paid 50 whatever million a year. Yeah. Because that's the CEO part of this.
Do we know what the question was with that answer? Like, I wasn't. You weren't there either. But.
Well, I listened to the whole thing, so I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was something to the effect of year 3 in the system of Doug. What's the benefit type deal?
Okay. Because here's where I'm going with it. Obviously a big storyline in this off season and going to training camp is going to be the fact of who's calling the plays, right? And when is that going to be announced and everything. And we sat here and talked about how when Trevor Lawrence essentially defended Press Taylor, was that more of just a quarterback having his offensive coordinator's back, or was that really Trevor saying, I don't want Doug Peterson to call the plays, I want Press Taylor to call the plays? Because that's the way that it came across. But once again, do you take it as he's defending his guy, or that's truly how he feels? Now, I can sit here and say, I think it's more beneficial for Doug Peterson to call the plays. I think you agree with me. I think a lot of people in the city would agree with me. But hearing Trevor talk about just the consistency, hearing Trevor talk about just, it's like, listen, I get we're all creatures of habit, and I think like you get kind of in this like habit of, you're accustomed to a certain thing, and obviously that could be Press Taylor's voice. Hearing him talk in that little soundbite right there leads me to believe more that Trevor wasn't just giving, having his offensive coordinator's back in Press Taylor. It leads me to believe that I think Trevor Lawrence actually wants Press Taylor to be in his headset because that's what he's been accustomed to. And that's just been kind of the creature of habit that he's had to deal with, and I think he wants that consistency. No, it's one soundbite, but that's what I gauge from that soundbite.
Yeah, that's interesting, Reed. I didn't go there, but I don't mind it. In fact, I might need to listen to that again a little bit later in the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's I didn't go there at all. I didn't even think about play calling, but maybe that is the thought. Listen, I think he's a pretty genuine guy, right? I don't think he gets up there and BS's a lot of people. I think he's pretty honest and says he's honest, and then he also says, I can't say everything, and I think he has a very nice balance of that. So when he said that he assumes Press is going to be the guy, I believed him. I don't think that was protecting his guy. I think it was more, we're just getting back in the building. We haven't even had those kind of conversations. I really think, now we can debate whether we'd be critical about this if you want, but I don't think that was even a conversation Doug's even had with those guys yet. Because I think Doug is still uncertain about it. And was. And again, this is back in early April that I'm talking about when he talked about it in the past. So they were just getting back in the building. Remember, there's not a lot of conversation and things that can go on, right, in those months leading up. So, I didn't look at it that he was protecting Press. I get what you're saying. He might have been. He might have been. He's smart enough to do it. But I also didn't really interpret it that way. But I think you bring up something that's kind of fascinating. I can think Doug's better for the job. Shad Khan can think he's better for the job. You can think he's better than the job. Y'all can hate Press Taylor for calling plays, whatever you want to do, however you want to, whatever angle you want to take here. But if that young man at number 16 says, listen, I like it.
Yeah.
That's the guy. I mean, that's the guy. It really doesn't matter what the rest of us think. And even Doug might say, hey, if this is what you want, this is what you want.
Correct.
So,
and I agree here. And I also think that if Doug Peterson wants to call, if it's really a thing and he feels like they're the better team if he's calling the plays. And now, once again, we have our own opinion about it, right? But I'm speaking from Doug's side. If Doug thought that they're a far better team with him calling the plays, he would have made the announcement last year. I get there was other things going on, but come on. The whole point of being an NFL coach is to win ball games.
Yeah.
It's a performance-based business. If you don't win, you get canned. It's simple as that. So I think that if Doug truly felt that this team was in better hands, this team could win a lot more games if he called the plays, then he would already call the plays.
Yeah.
I get there's maybe some other fires here or there, but winning is the most important thing. So once again, it does lead me to believe, and you put more faith in Trevor in his comments than I did, because I thought it was just a quarterback sticking up for his coordinator.
Yeah.
But now looking more into it, I guess I wouldn't be surprised now if Press Taylor's calling plays this season.
By the way, we'll hear about from Doug Peterson on Trevor. We'll hear more Trevor. I will get to the Brian Thomas stuff. We just got to take a break. We got a couple hours left in the show, so don't go anywhere. And also, there's big stuff happening in high school ball. I don't know if everybody tunes in as a high school fan, but there's some monumental stuff going on, not just with name, image, likeness, but also this new championship division. And we're going to talk about it a little bit later on in the show. We're going to have Kevin Sullivan on because I think he can help us through some of the conversation better than maybe I can do on our own. But it's pretty wild times in high school football. High school sports right now, and some of these landmark things, and with my favorite FHSAA going on. Whether you like it or not, I would vote for a bunch of other things that the FHSAA would like to try to do on this Tuesday, along with this stuff. But I don't think that's on their agenda. Just on mine. Let's take a time out. Brent Austen Show on a Tuesday on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Don't forget, after the game debuts today at 2 o'clock on the network. You can find it on actionnewsjacks.com and the Action News Jacks app. And there it is. Tuesdays and Fridays we'll play it at 2 o'clock, and we'll tell you how else you can find it podcast-wise in the future and other things. But there's a new episode every week. Kevin Sullivan, our first episode with Josh Baker. We're really excited about it. I think you're going to love it. You got to check it out and tell us how you feel about it. And hopefully I'm right. We'll be back on the Brent Austen Show. We all have our favorite spots in town to eat, drink, and have a good time. And once in a while, we try a new spot. This new spot will soon become your favorite spot. It's 1937 Spirits and Eatery in San Marco. Where else can you get unicorn fish? It was really good. They have local fresh seafood. Try a terrific burger or a Jack's Hot Chicken sandwich. The ambiance is perfect for any occasion. The idea here is to have fun, have a good time. Whether you're chilling out on the couches, cozying up to the bar, having lunch or dinner, it's a throwback experience. 1937, when going out to dinner was like going to a party. They even have a photo booth. Who doesn't like a good photo booth? We recently brought the entire team out to try it, and everyone said, I'm bringing my significant other here to try it as well. The new spot becomes your favorite spot. Make 1937 Spirits and Eatery in San Marco your new favorite spot.
What started out as better people, better projects just keeps getting, well, better. That's Better Exterior Solutions, ready to help you create a better outdoor experience. Check this out. Motorized pergolas are the latest in technology to transform your outdoor space. Beautiful day? Let the sun shine through. Summer rainstorm? These pergola systems close automatically to keep the weather out. From residential to commercial uses, Better Exterior Solutions has products customized to meet virtually any existing architectural structure. With retractable awnings, screens, and hurricane shutters too, if you want unparalleled quality and expertise, you need Better Exterior Solutions. Get a free estimate by visiting betterexteriors.com or calling 904-902-4999. Better Exterior Solutions. Experience better.
You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242. You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing. Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Maybe you need a new tankless water heater or something a bit more intricate. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
The friendliest golf course in town, the Golf Club at Southampton. Local golfers have no shortage of options when it comes to picking a course to play here in Northeast Florida year-round. Yet time and time again, I find myself here at the Golf Club at Southampton. Easy to get to off 210 in St. Johns County. It's family-owned and operated and renowned for being one of the area's most player-friendly. That's just one of the reasons we hold the Action Sports Jacks Dream 18 charity golf tournament here each fall. The Mark McCumber design layout is great for all skill levels of golfers, from the guys who bomb it a mile on the range to golfers like me who are just happy to put it in the fairway, which Southampton has very accommodating fairways. And if you need new clubs, come down to the Pro Shop. They'll fit you up and get you a nice new set like they did for me. For more information on membership or to book a tee time and see for yourself, head over to golfsouthampton.com or call the clubhouse at 904-287-7529. The Golf Club at Southampton. It's the official home of the Action Sports Jacks Dream 18. Make it your home for golf too.
It's the place we party in football season with Jaguars All Access. Welcome to Spring Sports Brewery, everybody. Say hello to our guest tonight. That is Trevor Lawrence. You can bring your party or event to Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield any day and any time. Rehearsal dinners, corporate events, birthdays. Here at Springs, you can enjoy the inside area and the outside area. Good for any weather, good for any occasion. Watch the games, play the games, shoot some hoops. Beer? Yeah, they have that. Plenty of choices. And sure, this is a brewery, but Strings is also a restaurant, and the food is fantastic. A full menu made from scratch meals. And if you need String Sports Brewery to help with a party at your place, they cater too. Family, beer, food, sports. Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
Hey, welcome back here to Brent and Austen Show. There's a lot going on. I mean, we got players being suspended for life in the Major League Baseball. We've got the FHSAA allowing name, image, likeness, also making a championship division out of Max Prep's top 8 rankings, even though we have no idea how the rankings systems even work, including the FHSAA. I mean, these are big things happening. We're trying to digest it all before diving too far into it, so we will get into that part of it and some other things along the way. Real quick, did you see the story about Tucupita Marcano? Who was banned from baseball permanently.
Yeah.
And
betting, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So there's a lowdown here that just came out the last hour, and I'm catching headlines, but 231 bets on baseball. Mm-hmm. Baseball bets totaling $87,000. Okay. 25 bets on the Pirates while he was a Pirates player.
How much? Was it 87,000?
Yeah. Is it worth it, man?
Otani's just like, pocket change. Otani's like, that's a Tuesday.
Yeah. That's
dude should have an interpreter. You messed it up, man.
Oh, and finally the FHSAA comes up big. Finally, I can agree with. Well, it's not. I don't disagree with everything the FHSAA does. But how about this one? They voted unanimously to expand use of the shot clock in basketball. Thank you very much. Welcome to 2024.
They don't have a shot clock in basketball? Oh wow, I had no idea. Yeah, that makes sense.
Awful.
I bet. I believe it. Yeah,
it's awful.
I remember. I think, did we have a shot clock? Maybe we didn't. I don't know.
Yeah, you were in Wisconsin, by the way. That was like in 2000 and whatever.
Sure.
Like you can play the four corners then, all right? And it's good in the Midwest.
Are you calling Wisconsin not a good basketball state?
I'm calling it four corners are fine. Dribble the ball out, whatever it is.
About? What is that?
Just stand there and just dribble the ball out for 3 minutes on a possession.
No, well, we didn't do that, man. We're scoring.
No, but seriously, like that's been the problem with high school basketball.
Is that they just stall?
Well, you can just stall. You have no shot clock.
No, for sure.
And
I guess
it's been like the expense of putting it in. It's like I know listen, plenty of school districts don't have money.
Yeah.
But you can't get somebody to help you put in a clock like this day and age. It doesn't feel like expense with technology and everything else should be a factor.
I mean, looking back on it, like, yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Teams can just stall. Like, if you're up by 10, why even drive to the hoop then?
Why in the fourth quarter if you're up by any? I mean,
yeah.
Now, listen, you can still get.
You can trap
defense
them.
Can be. They can force things, but it just is dumb. It was bad to watch. To be honest with you,
gotcha.
And you got games that are like 28-25.
Yeah.
It's just not a fun style.
Yeah.
So, shot clock in basketball. I'll take it. I'll take that win.
Absolutely. Entertaining. I like it.
That is a big win. I'm going to make sure I put that out there. That helps.
Let them know, Brent.
All right. Let's while we digest all these breaking news around the sports world. back to the Jags, and I want to get to Brian Thomas Jr., his status. What's interesting about Brian Thomas Jr., we've said this a couple times, but I think it's worth repeating in case folks are just jumping in, is if you listen to what Trevor says, but it's like this is now the check the box part of who the Jags are getting.
Yep.
This is not just arm length and speed and height and weight and those boxes. Mm-hmm. This is character guy, IQ. You hear the word smart a lot. That's what we've heard a lot about Brian Thomas Jr. coming out of LSU. I love it, by the way. I think those intangibles are fantastic intangibles. Not everybody's going to have it. Mm-hmm. There are different levels of it. Mm-hmm. But when I hear about a guy that has that, I think this guy has speed already, Austin, and then he might have the IQ to help you instinctually play the game. So you combine those two things, that can make a very good football player. I think the same can be said, and maybe the actual smart comment from Trevor is about Gabe Davis that we'll get to in a bit. Okay. But I think they brought him into, like, we're getting, I hate to say cookie cutter, but it's like you can line up the players in the Jags locker room and it's like, okay, long arms isn't just the only thing. It's also good character, smarts. There are other boxes that they're checking.
No, for sure, without a doubt. And like we talked about, I think it was last week on the show, I mean, we knew what kind of athletic freak Brian Thomas Jr. was, right? The combine shows that. The 40-yard dash shows that. His highlight film shows that. But something that we couldn't really find out until, Doug Peterson speaks about him, Trevor Lawrence speaks about him, is the IQ, the intelligent part, right? I mean, now you really got something.
Yeah.
If you can combine the football savviness with your athleticism, I think the sky's the limit for you.
Let's hear Trevor Lawrence on Brian Thomas Jr., a little progress report and what he sees out of the young man out of LSU.
I really like him. Obviously just talented, can fly. He's really smart. I think that's the one thing I'm the most impressed with is he's picking up the offense super fast. He's a quiet guy, so we're still, getting him to ask questions and stuff. But, he doesn't ask any questions. He always knows what to do. So I've been impressed. That's tough for a rookie. I was there, obviously, at one point, and I was swimming a little bit. And to see him come out here and pick everything up and really not skip a beat has been impressive. And then the more comfortable he gets in the system and knows what to do, he's just going to get better and better. But, I think our chemistry is growing every day. I'm starting to get a feel for how he likes to run routes. I'm starting to, communicate more on how I want things to look and the thoughts that I have based on certain coverages or techniques on the defense. I think he's doing a good job of just soaking everything up, and that's what this time's about, is learning it all, as much as you can. So in training camp, obviously you're going to keep learning, but you want to, like I said, you want to be rolling in training camp and get ready for the season.
Didn't watch this interview? Once again, Brian Thomas Jr., IQ, smart.
Yeah.
Says something, man.
Yeah, I think it does. Like, I don't know exactly what it means, but we know this about Brian Thomas Jr. We're not talking about a guy who's undersized, who's a little on the slower side, who ran a 4.55, 4.6 or something like that. I mean, we're talking about a burner. We're talking about a guy who's got a resume, and then you add this. See, that's where I really like it. Now, listen, I'm a big believer in sports IQ. I think you can make up for a lot that way, and I think you can even the playing field. Yeah. In a lot of ways, with IQ and instinct and all those the non-measurable stuff, quite frankly. But when you can add it to a guy, like, that's where you maybe get a stud type of player. That's what I really like. And I think it's important to note that the Jags are certainly putting that on their box list to check. Again, these are traits that the Jags are finding and liking and acquiring, not just in the draft, but also in free agency, because we're going to hear about Gabe Davis in just a moment, and it'll echo pretty similar.
Sure. Yeah. I'm trying to, okay. So, have you watched Brian Thomas highlights at all? I mean, you've seen some college stuff or not?
Oh, yeah.
Like, okay, so, when you watch Brian Thomas Jr. and you do his thing, like, obviously he had a lot of touchdowns last year, yeah? And there were a lot of explosive touchdowns. Okay. I found it interesting, like, for as great as he was, for explosive as he was, for electric as he was, like, yeah, he had celebrations, but he wasn't, like, crazy with it. There's some guys even in college football where it's like, man, if you're that guy at the wide receiver position, you're going to let people know about it.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to, whatever, do some kind of dance, some kind of celebration. And, like, I remember seeing Thomas had, like, a couple just, like, fist pumps or, like, flexes and stuff, but nothing crazy. And then I hear Trevor Lawrence go on and say, he's kind of a quiet, reserved guy, a smart guy. I mean, I wonder if we're essentially getting, like, the reincarnation of Andre Johnson And people might hear me say that and say, oh, we want it better than Andre Johnson. But what you fail to realize just how great Andre Johnson was as a wide receiver. But he gets slept on so many times because he didn't have the personality of it's about me, me, me. He didn't have the ego. He didn't have the celebrations. He just went about his business, had the IQ, was great for the community, and kept quiet. And I think sometimes people forget just how great. Now, I know because I had to play against him twice a year. But I wonder if you got your own kind of thing of Andre Johnson now.
Well, let me give you a different one that people do know.
Okay.
Along those same lines, sure. Larry Fitzgerald.
Sure, yeah.
Same way, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I don't know if he ever spiked a football in his life. I'm not sure. He knew he's a student of the game.
Yeah.
He knew the ins and outs, the nuances of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And, what I just looked up real quick when you said that, and I'll get to Andre Johnson, but is how quick can you make an impact? How quick do you know? Mm-hmm. Well, for Arizona, who obviously played his whole career there, back in 2004, he played in 16 games. He caught 58 passes for 780 yards and 8 touchdowns. All right, so that's about 13.4 yards per catch. The next year is where it really took off. 103 catches, 1,400 yards, 13.7 a catch, so similar, and 10 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. And then from there, he would go on to have 69, 100, 96, 97. Then he became the guy, right? And he had some other years where he was over 100. Highest touchdown year was 13. But again, I'm talking early on. How quick did you know that Larry Fitzgerald was really good?
Yeah.
And even in year one, though, I mean, if Brian Thomas Jr. has 58, 780, and 8 touchdowns. Are we going to be disappointed with that?
Not necessarily, but with Larry Fitzgerald, though, I mean, he was the guy coming out of college, though, too. Like, Brian Thomas Jr., everyone's excited to have him, but, there was people ahead of him, right? Like, Neighbors, obviously, Odunze, Marvin Harrison Jr. I feel like Fitzgerald coming out of college was like Marvin Harrison Jr. was, essentially. But maybe I'm wrong. I mean, he was the first wide receiver taken. He had to be.
Hang on one second.
But maybe not, though. Maybe I stand corrected. I don't.
Let me check. 2004 draft. It would have been for. Oh yeah, he was way up there. He was number 3. He was Eli Manning, Robert Gallery by the Raiders. Larry Fitzgerald, then Phillip Rivers, and obviously he had the Rivers and Manning swap.
So first receiver taken.
First receiver.
Might have been on the cover of NCAA football too. I mean, he was big in college.
I'm trying to think of another wide receiver. There were many, like Roy Williams was taking that. Reggie Williams by the Jags was taking that draft.
Okay.
Lee Evans for Buffalo. Michael Clayton as well. So, I mean, they got the guy. Mm-hmm. Let me just really quick look up Andre Johnson's stats. Because what I'm interested here when you bring something like that up is early in his career. Do we know right away? Did those traits kind of make the transition? Well, in 2003 with Houston, 66 catches, so about 8 more than Larry had, 976 yards. Okay. So definitely more, 14.8 yards per catch, 4 touchdowns. He had less touchdowns, but he obviously did well. The next year, 79 catches, 1142, and 6 touchdowns. So he wasn't a touchdown machine early in his career. In fact, he never had double-digit touchdowns in his entire career. How crazy is that?
That is wild.
He never had double-digit touchdowns, but he also had 1142, 1147, 1575, 1589. He had a bunch of 1,000-yard seasons.
And it didn't matter who the quarterback was. He made that quarterback shine.
Well, that's a good point, too. He didn't have Trevor Lawrence.
But once again, this is kind of the Larry Fitzgerald model. Like Andre Johnson was taken 3rd overall.
Yeah, same.
Actually, the second wide receiver taken, though, Charles Rogers out of Michigan State, went number 2 to the Lions.
Well, obviously, he was disappointed.
Obviously.
So I think those are interesting comps. We're basically, if you just jump it in, kind of like this quiet, more of a quiet, unassuming player. That's not your typical diva wide receiver.
Sure. Yeah.
But comes with a big skill set, which again, these guys were top 5 picks, so maybe that isn't fair. But I think Brian Thomas Jr. comes with a very good skill set. There just happened to be other receivers that also were big, fast, strong in this draft. I mean, Brian Thomas Jr. could have gone as high as top 14th pick or 13th pick.
Yeah.
Depending on how the draft were to fall. I don't think it was like, Jags reached for him at 23, right?
Correct.
So he could emerge. And again, I mean, Justin Jefferson was picked at number 22.
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb, I think, at number 17. So you don't have to be a top 5 pick. But the unassuming player, that the guy with the smarts, the skill set, all the tools, those examples, if we're being even correct in our comparisons, Andre Johnson, Larry Fitzgerald. They got off to respectable starts in year one, but it was year two where the jump took place. So that would be an interesting thing to watch.
Andre Johnson, 6'3", 229. So I think there's some comparisons in terms of size and everything.
Yeah, I like that. By the way, I like them both. I like those comps. Like those are very.
I guess those
are cool comps.
I kind of slept on Andre Johnson, I guess, in college. I mean, I remember him, but I was pretty young then, so I forgot he was a top 3 player, taken.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was that high either. Even Larry Fitzgerald, I'd forgotten it was a top 5 pick for a wide receiver. Hey, Rob, let's take Trevor's take on Gabe Davis too, because all these things that we're talking about with Brian Thomas Jr., I think Gabe Davis again checks a lot of these boxes. Listen to what Trevor has to say about acclimating that and getting Gabe Davis acclimated to the offense.
He's been great, just hard worker. Obviously, he's still working himself back in, but just hard worker. He's smart. He's a good leader. I mean, the way he communicates with the room, he'll talk about stuff that maybe they did in Buffalo that might be a little bit different, whether it's concepts or route technique and some things that they did, or just kind of talking about everything. And you can tell he's really smart, sees the field, understands coverages. Just going to be a great addition for us, and he's willing to do all the dirty work too, which is cool to see from a receiver. He's willing to block, kind of do whatever he needs to do, and obviously he's a playmaker down the field, and that'll be a good addition for us.
There you go again. All the things, right? I mean, this is going to be a constant. Smart guy. I mean, hey, by the way, all those things you said about Gabe Davis, all the things saying about Brian Thomas Jr., says about Evan Ingram, says about Christian Kirk. These are smart football players. Yeah. The Jags, listen, when you say that, here's one thing about this. Doesn't matter who plays in this instance, I don't think, unless it gets clunky in terms of the communication. But when you say the things that you're saying, ETN in this offense now for a third year, Trevor in this offense, the offensive line in the offense, the Jags should have no procedural problems.
Yeah.
I mean, or very little, you know what I mean?
No, for sure.
Didn't we didn't we go to that thing where it was 12 delay of games or something? Was that a conversation we had? Somebody else, or maybe that was having that at the stadium with DeRocco.
Okay.
Mike DeRocco looked it up, and it was double the amount of delay of games this past year than there was the previous year.
Well, I understand. Me and DeRocco very, we're basically the same people. Yes. Very similar.
Height-wise, especially. But, so we were having that conversation, and to me the number wasn't absurd. I maybe it was 12-6, or maybe it was 9-4. I forget what it was. But the bottom line is there were more procedural problems for the Jags last year than there was in 2022. To me, that doesn't make sense. You're in year 2 of the offense. The only thing that I would say is, okay, well, you had a different play caller. The communication was a little bit different.
Sure.
So maybe that was part of the problem.
Well, yeah, but keep in mind, I mean, when you bring in new players every single year, like a Calvin Ridley, I'm sure the offensive playbook changed a little bit. You're not going to have the consistent, there's going to be new calls, new plays every single year.
That's fair.
And depending on who you're playing, that'll implement the new calls, new plays as well. So, I mean, every playbook, year in, year out, it's going to be different. And every weekly, it's going to be different.
Yeah, you're right, and there might be even more of those changes. But I just think if you have a veteran team that's been around these guys, the communication sounds similar, and at least the why and the scheme and the overall. I mean, they're not just redoing the offense, right? They might add wrinkles, and then you also continue to tell me how smart everybody is. Then this should be a team that doesn't line up and have a delay a game.
True.
Very often, right? Or should be able to get their stuff together and be on the same page and be in sync. And again, if you go back to last year, it wasn't just the delay of games I'm talking about. There might have been 7 or 8, 10 instances. They did not look like they were on the same page at times. It looked clunky at times. This should not look clunky this year. So we'll see if it does or not. But let's take a time out here on the Brent Austen Show. Got a lot of big news. Want to keep updating you on the NIL stuff in Florida. That's become a national storyline. Kind of knew it would be happening, could be happening. It was a unanimous vote. That's not going to make coaches very happy around the state of Florida. There are chances that high school kids could be making more than high school coaches in theory. Will that happen? I don't know, but probably. Let's just say that. And then there's some other things. I really like the shot clock expansion. Very nice. Thank you. Finally, welcome to 2024. FHSAA. There's a championship division that's coming out in high school sports, which will include the top 8 teams in the state in Max Prep rankings. So we get that proprietary Max Preps to figure out who the top 8 teams are in the state, good or bad. What do you think about it? We'll talk a little bit later with Kevin Sullivan. He'll join us in the noon hour to discuss some of these things. That's still to come, but that's the latest. There's a lot happening in the state of Florida when it comes to high school athletics, so we'll continue to keep an eye on what's going on there. Let's take a break. Brent Austen Show on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 Network. We'll be right back.
In Northeast Florida, we love hanging out on the back patio, maybe grilling out lunch or dinner with the family, enjoying the good weather, or maybe enjoying the big game on the TV. Or maybe your favorite team in town, the Action Sports Jacks team. This is great, except for when it's really hot or the bugs start coming out. But what if you didn't have to worry about that? Titan Outdoor Solutions will make your outdoor area a comfortable spot, any time of the day, any time of the year. This makes too much sense. Titan Outdoor Solutions can give your home an upgrade. Customized pergolas, awnings, controlled shade, even retractable screens. The solution to beating the heat and the bugs and getting more use out of your home is Titan Outdoor Solutions. And this can even help prevent storm damage at your home. Living in Florida and living in your home is already good. Now make it great. Quality products, custom work, locally owned and operated. Visit TitanShuttersAndScreens.com or call 904-484-7580.
It was a quiet weekend at Southern Oak Stadium with both the men's and women's teams away from home in our latest Armada Minute. The boys in blue snapped a 2-game losing streak and did it in emphatic fashion with a 4-0 victory in their first ever meeting with the Miami Dutch Lions. Sebastian Zettel, Alex Iarides, Noah Kavif, and Callum Frogson all finding the back of the net in South Florida. Next up, a Friday night home matchup against longtime rivals, the New Orleans Jesters, at 7 p.m. The women's under-23 squad picked up 3 points from a pair of games in Southwest Florida, topping Gulf Coast 4-0, but falling to Cape Coral 2-0. A home crowd will be a nice change of pace on Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m. as the Fleet plays host to the West Florida Flames. Tickets are available for both matches on JacksonvilleArmada.com, and I'll have the call on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network this weekend. I'm Stuart Weber with your Jacksonville Armada Minute.
I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants.
We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning, and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter.
Right now, you can save $1,000 or more when you bundle the Connecticut Premier Softener with a Connecticut K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Financing options available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
The Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network is streaming. I'm Stuart Weber, and I'm here to teach you a nice 3-step process on how you can watch all your favorite programming from the Brent Austen Show every weekday 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. or the Cup Date with me. It's fantastic. We talk NASCAR. It's a great time. Wednesdays at 1 o'clock. All right, first step, easy. Download the Action News Jacks app. You probably already have it downloaded on your phone, so you might already have that one taken care of. Step 2, see that stack of pancakes up there? You click that stack of pancakes, and it's going to bring down step number 3, which is a full screen of all the different streams that you can click on, including the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 stream. You click that, the video's rocking and rolling on your mobile device, you're watching all the shows you want to, and you're having a good time. You can also do it on your smart TV with the Action News Jacks Now app. I do it on my Samsung TV at home. It's a great way to watch it on a nice, large screen for all the content. That's the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Hope you can find it.
Everyone loves a good game night. Here you don't have to be the host. You don't have to clean up. They bring the food and drinks to you, and you can watch whatever you want on the big screens. It's more than a card room. It's a night full of fun with friends. Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now the newest location here in St. Augustine, right off 95 at exit 311. A brand new clean room, a full bar and menu, my favorite sushi in town. And I love the fries too. You don't have to just play poker at Best Bet. That's why I come over here to the table games and play one-card poker. That's a pretty good card and a win. One-card poker is like war as a kid, you against the dealer. And this isn't the only fun table game to play. A friendly staff, a lot of fun. It's a good night out at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and the newest location in St. Augustine. You can be a serious player or a novice. It doesn't matter. If winning equals fun, you're a winner every time at Best Bet. I'll save you a seat, and I'll see you down here at Best Bet St. Augustine.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
As we look at the Miller Electric Center, Jags OTAs continuing here on Tuesday this week. I feel like we're 2 days in. Last week we were already on to Wednesday because of Memorial Day.
Yeah.
Now this is the long week. 5 days. A little longer than last. Hope everybody's having a good day. Getting their week going before we get to Hump Day tomorrow. A lot going on around here with Action Sports Jax and here at the station. Looking forward to the summer, next few weeks. Just a programming reminder, by the way, Austin and Casey will take the show next week, and then we're going to go on a little bit of a hiatus for a couple of weeks, which we normally would do on the radio side over the years, and we're going to do the same. We'll have some special programming for you along the way. The network doesn't stop, so we will continue to feed the network, and if anything major happens, jump back in the mix, but we'll get a little bit of a hiatus before getting ready to roll for football season and kicking off the week of the 4th of July. So there'll be a lot to get to. Hey, I know there's a lot into the NIL stuff, but just at face value.
Yeah.
The FHSA approving name, image, and likeness in high school. If they did that in Wisconsin, if they did it wherever else, what are you, good or bad?
I mean, so right now, Brent, while you were talking about Trevor Lawrence, I was actually setting up my son's Instagram accounts, YouTube accounts, and Twitter accounts because we're about to bring home the bacon when he gets to high school. No, it's I mean, I have to hear like all the clarifications of what this rule means, but initially when you said NIL is coming to high school sports, Brent, my first thought is, yikes. That was my first thought, yikes.
Yeah, it is mine too. It's hard not to think that way after what we just saw transpire over these last few years in college athletics, isn't it?
It is, but okay, and this is, I say yikes because I get it. I'm older now. Like sometimes I don't like admitting that I'm 36 years old, and sometimes I can be out of touch. This is me coming clean, Brent. This is me being honest with myself. I don't like saying it sometimes, but some things I just don't understand, okay? I don't understand gamers getting millions of dollars on Twitch, okay? I don't understand influencers half the time, why people follow certain people and other people get no love. I don't understand that. There's a lot of things in the social media aspect that I just don't get, and to tell you the truth, I don't care because I don't like go out and try to find those answers. But I do understand that it is the time that we're living in now, where if you can go stream a video game and make money off it, more power to you. And these are kids doing it, Brent. So like if kids can, like for instance, my son's 9, doesn't have any social media, doesn't have a cell phone. That's obviously by design, okay? We're going to hold off a little bit. But if my son had a cell phone and he had, a PlayStation, he could essentially at 9 years old start an account, make money off that, right? No, it'd have to be good, it'd have to be entertaining, whatever the case may be, but he could do that. He can make money off that. And at 9 years old. Mm-hmm. So if you have a kid who's really good at athletics, how can you justify paying the kid that's playing video games making money, but not the kid that's an athlete?
Yeah. There's a lot that goes into that, and I was on that. By the way, I've been on that side. I've been on that side of what you just said, and I think people have used the examples of this. Let's just say you're a musician at school, and
Sure.
you write a song, and you can get the rewards for that song and benefit from that, but you can't do a commercial or a camp if you're an athlete. Like, to me, that didn't make sense.
Well, and ironically, that was the thing that we both brought up when we was at Intuition Brewery, right? When we're downtown. Yeah. And that was one of our points, because NIL wasn't even a thing yet.
No.
And we talked about how you can be a violinist in college, give out lessons, get paid for that.
Yes.
That's your skill. but you can't play football and you can't make any money off your name.
You can't do a camp.
Yeah, exactly. This is before NIL, obviously. But I remember that conversation.
So even in this landscape, like, listen, our kids just graduated and played sports, and we've thought about many times and I'm seeing actually kids around the area do it now that they have graduated, but I think they could have done this prior, is the kids can do camps. So, like, to me, that's cool. Like, why not? Why not make a little money off a camp if you have an expertise and kids want to come and learn from a high school kid? Like, that's a neat thing to be able to do, in my opinion.
Yeah.
On a lot of different levels. That's good for the campers. That's good for the instructor and kid learning how to teach and maybe gets them involved in coaching down the road and puts a little coin in their pocket, but not like, here's $5,000 to, really, we want you to come play for our school, right? So we just can't get to a happy medium way on so many of these things. This is from Clayton Freeman in the Times-Union, who was there in Gainesville today. Under the provisions of the new rules, students and their parents or guardians are responsible for negotiating any NIL arrangements. Stop right there.
Baby Gronk's coming to Florida.
Right there.
If Baby Gronk comes to Florida, I'm done.
If parents...
We're going back to Wisconsin.
So now we've got parents like parents are the worst part of the equation.
I know, but
like they're probably the worst part of the equation.
They are,
honestly. They
yeah, but there has to be some like adult supervision. Come on.
Well, I get it, but see, this is why they can't handle it. This is why when you go to the college stuff now, right? We get to this $20 million cap. They're going to hire somebody to kind of put the parameters and kind of guide people, and it's not going to be parents and students just doing it. It might be agents. I don't know, but it feels like there'll be people like. Honestly, Austin, I feel like I know sports.
Sure.
I feel like I cover sports. And I've said this, like, I say this in my own, like, Ty's going to Flagler.
Yeah.
They just had a coaching change. He'll ask me all these questions like, what does this mean? What does it? I don't know. Like, I really don't know. Like, I'm not sure. I live this stuff, and I don't know. So what happens to the people that don't live this stuff?
Yeah.
They really don't know, or at least don't know where to even go find the answers, which just creates a more wild, wild west part to this. So here's the other part. FHSA rules also prohibit athletes from earning money off NIL while using their school's uniform, logo, equipment, or similar intellectual or physical property. So you can't wear Creekside or whatever on there. Okay, I get it. A provision forbids schools from using NIL as an enticement for students to attend their program. Okie dokie. Like, that's going to happen. I mean, this is the main issue. This is what people have the big problem with. Is there going to be a school in the state? Yes, there is the answer, that says, hey, we'll give you $20,000 to come down here. Yeah. Some people will argue it's already going on.
Yeah.
Right? Prohibits students from securing an NIL deal after an in-season transfer without a good cause exemption from the relevant school district. So basically they're saying, hey, you can't transfer within the year and then go sign a deal because it's going to look like you took a benefit for coming over to that school. I like that. I like that little provision. Maybe that does discourage some of the things that we fear could happen here. And one last thing, students violating the NIL policies would result in a formal warning and the termination of the agreement. A second offense would be a 1-year suspension. So
from school, from NIL,
from sports,
from sports.
Okay. I'm going to assume here from sports.
Okay, yeah.
So here's the big overarching problem, and I'm going to say I won't say name, but I got this from a coach that I just asked about it, and this is: I'm quitting if I coach someone else that makes more than me. And that's what you're going to get. Already the high school coaches are not paid enough in the state of Florida. And you're going to now get situations, I'm sure, where kids are going to make more than that coach gets for a stipend to coach that sport.
Do you know what I would tell that coach
problematic.
Then? That's problematic?
I think that's problematic.
Okay. I would say that's the world that we live in, man.
Yeah, but
what? Because these kids aren't getting paid. Like, okay.
Should you get $4,000 to coach high school football in the state of Florida, or should you get more?
Maybe get more.
You should definitely get more.
Yeah, maybe get more, absolutely. It's not the kid's problem.
No, it's not, but that's a systemic problem. So
okay.
The point is, most people wanted to see, before you go this NIL route, which, by the way, is going to be put in effect this school year. So before you go there, how about we raise coach salaries?
Okay, that sounds great. But also, if you're a coach complaining about the NIL, then I'm going to tell you, well, then go start your own YouTube page, go on Twitter. Seriously.
Yeah, they can do it too.
Like, anybody can do it. Like, this is... Here's where I'm sitting at with a father of a 9-year-old who wants to get YouTube because like that's the world that he lives in now. My son keeps begging me, I want to get my own YouTube channel. I'm like, no, not right now. When you're older, and maybe I'm in the wrong for trying to protect him. Maybe I'm the wrong because maybe I don't understand everything about today's youth. You talk to me about the NIL, and I'm going to say, like, I don't want it because I want kids to have, like, high school's hard enough already. Okay, like, I didn't have social media. I didn't have any of that back in high school, and it was hard enough already for me. Like, thankfully, I had football because if it wasn't for football, high school would have, I would have cared less, honestly. But football got me through it. Cool. I get now that the teenage experience, the high schooler's experience is so much different, right? And I'm not naive to that. So that's why I'm not sitting here saying, oh, NIL, absolutely not, because I get that's how you can go start social media and make money. Like, we never had that, Brent. So it's hard for us to even comprehend, like, NIL, like, it's not necessarily going to be based off these kids in terms of what they do on the field. It's high school sports, okay? It's going to be based more off of, like, what they also do off the field, how they present themselves, how they, go about things a certain way, and they show that in social media. That's where this is going. So, yeah, I understand that times are changing and all this stuff, and I guess I'm not opposed to the NIL just because I get the high school experience now is so much different when I went to high school. And if I'm going to sit here and say, no, the NIL is stupid, kids shouldn't get paid, then I guess how out of touch am I?
Yeah, listen, I don't necessarily, again, I think you put it very well. I think you said, at face value, it's like, ugh, I don't like it. Of course. Right?
Yeah.
I agree with you. I also think there are things that make sense to it, but there are things that made sense in the college game too. We just discussed that. Like, I'll just use camps as the easiest example for college kids, high school kids. Why not? Why not make a little money off that? That's cool if you can do it. If you got a little swag in your community and you think you can do that, and that might help promote actually more people get involved in coaching. I think what we see is the negative side of this. There's been negative side of it in college because of lack of parameters. Again, you've discussed that in the past. Why did we open the Wild Wild West without any parameters? We could have adjusted the parameters. Well, we're doing the same here. We're doing the same without parameters. They have parameters, but there's no like financial parameters. I was even thinking coming in today, I'm like, what if you said you can only get as much as the coach makes in NIL? What if a kid cannot exceed what a coach makes in NIL money? But again, I don't know if you can do that. I don't think you can put those kind of parameters on it. If you could put parameters on these things, we wouldn't probably be here or legislation-wise. So my biggest thing is coaches should make more. The FHSAA is doing this to keep up with the Joneses. There are like 30 states around the country now, and they're just like, yeah, well, let's do it. But what was the harm of, like, were they going to get sued? Like, the NCAA finally reached an agreement recently because they were tired of getting sued.
Yeah.
Were we about to see things getting like in litigation where the FHSAA was going to lose? Maybe. Mm-hmm. So I think the biggest thing, I think coaches would even be more on board with this if for two things happened. And these are logic things. I believe they should get paid more in the state of Florida than they do. Mm-hmm. I don't know how much more, but they should get more. And I think the other thing is there should be parameters and a cap on what a kid can make.
I agree with
which,
you.
By the way, would also protect the kid because we're talking about taxes. We're talking about some families that have mom and dad that know what they're doing. Some families have mom and dad that don't know what they're doing, that are going to abuse the system or just uneducated about the system or how this works. And you're going to get your kids at 16, 17 years old or 15 years old even in trouble, in problems that they don't need to be dealing with. High school is already hard enough.
And that's where I lean towards the most, where, once again, I accept what's going to happen. All right, if it's going to be NIL, it's going to be NIL. And I accept that because that's just the times that we're living in. But I do feel for the kids now because not every parent's going to have the best intentions. Not every kid or parent is going to set their kids up for success. And in doing so, there's going to be, stories of the kid's whole high school experience, the whole high school sporting experience, and possibly the college experience will be ruined because of this, because of what a parent's going to do in terms of NIL. It's going to happen. Mm-hmm. I put the mortgage, everything on it it's going to happen. It's going to happen, hopefully not so much, but it'll happen a lot. I'm sure it will. And that sucks. I mean, that's simply to put it. That sucks. But that's going to be the price, I guess.
Yeah, we're going to see it. It'll be, what are we not thinking about, right? What are we going to see that we're not thinking about? We've experienced it in college. We'll see if we experience it at this level too. And we're not done talking about it. We'll talk about it a little bit later on as well. But I just wanted to give everybody an update on it and try to digest it. There are a lot of other things going on in high school sports today with this meeting. And all I want to do is completion of a 7-inning game. I mean, that's it. That's on my agenda. Just completion. I'm not even going to get that. I can't.
Come on, Brent. Let's go. Let's go.
We got to say it.
Let's go.
Hopefully, they approve best of 3 in high school baseball. Can we get that, FHSAA? Let's do that. So anyway, championship division also is on the. Well, it has been approved. So. That's another one that we'll get into a little bit later on with Kevin Sullivan. I want to get his thoughts. I think he'll have a little expertise on where that's coming from and if he likes it or not. There are unhappy people around the state or in high school sports, though, today is my guess, especially in the coaching ranks. Brent Martineau along with Austin Lane. Brent Austen Show, the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. All right, let's stay on the Jags. I got some more sound that we want to get to. And Doug Peterson talking Trevor Lawrence and his evolution. Let's hear from Doug talking about number 16, if we can, Rob.
You know, I mean, you kind of lump all the great ones and all the good quarterbacks in that boat, I guess. You know, they're good leaders in the locker room, off the field. You know, with the coaching staff. You know, and look, it's not about necessarily being all vocal. I mean, I played with, you know, one of the greatest, you know, in Brett, and he wasn't a vocal guy, but he just led by example and, you know, spoke up when he had to, you know, and you know, Trevor's very similar that way. You know, he speaks when he has to, but just things we've seen this offseason have been very positive that way, and we just got to continue to grow in that direction.
How much do you sense the way last year ended is serving as fuel for him? You know what it does for you, but I mean, for him.
I think it's fuel, motivation for him, you know, to compete this year, to stay healthy this year, to lead better this year, you know, and maybe demand more this year. Those are all positive traits that can come out of something, you know, as negative as the end of the year last year.
Some interesting thoughts from Doug Peterson. The thing that caught my attention, you grew up watching Brett Favre. First of all, I did not realize Favre, from the outside looking in, was a quiet leader. Like, I feel like he's such a fiery player on the field that my images of him are jumping up and celebrating. And that surprised me.
So I've grown being a Brett Favre fan as a child. Like I never but once again, like as a kid, you kind of it's behind green and gold glasses, you know.
Yeah.
But no, like I don't ever recall Brett Favre like chewing anybody out or like, you know, getting vocal like in a negative way. What I remember about Brett Favre was like he was the ultimate backyard having fun. You know, like when he scored, like it was a touchdown, a crazy play, like he celebrated, like he. You know, you'd give hugs and all that stuff. I mean, the only time I ever really remember getting him like super intense was when it was him and Warren Sapp, and like he got in Warren Sapp's face a couple of times. But that's the only time I ever like really remember Brett Favre like, you know, showing a sense of anger or like frustration. It was more about just having fun. And I think I agree with Doug Peterson here. It takes all types, right? And like I want my quarterback not too high, not too low, right? You make a good play, cool. On to the next one. You make a bad play, cool. On to the next one. Like. I think being even keeled at the quarterback position is a must. I really do. And I think with Brett Favre, that comparison is maybe he wasn't the most vocal leader. Maybe he wasn't the rah-rah type, but his style was the leadership quality. The way he played the game of football was the leadership quality. Your dad passing away, you coming out there and throwing 4 touchdowns on Monday Night Football, that's the leadership quality right there. Like you do that, players will play for you.
Yeah, I think a lot of this is how you carry yourself in the building, right? How much you're putting time in, how you work, your first guy in. There's a reason why quarterbacks are first guys in because of that stuff, right? I think that does spread too. I think there's a subconscious about that kind of leadership. I think his relationships with people. And I think he's very good at that. I think he's done a very good job of that over the first few years of his career. I think he gets that. And that's probably what Doug is talking about in that sense. Again, that goes back to that CEO sense. But yeah, you think about the quarterbacks you played with. Is Matthew Stafford like that as well? Like, is he fiery guy, loud guy? Or I know you weren't there for long, but I mean, go back to Jay Cutler and Alex Smith. Like, would those guys be loud guys, or would they be lead by example guys?
Jay Cutler was a little more of the vocal side, right? And I think that's sometimes where. Well, number one, he got the bad misconception because like the way that he looked on the sidelines, which was just stupid in its own thing.
We've always said that we have multiple people that say he wasn't a bad teammate.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Played with him.
It's kind of, I guess, the media's portrayal, or even more importantly, social media's portrayal of a player. But I did think like Jay wasn't afraid to get after you a little bit. You know, I mean, almost kind of like a Peyton Manning type.
Okay.
Who else then? So yeah, Alex Smith was more of like the even keeled type of guy, and I've told this story before. My first day in Kansas City, I'm sitting at the table, and Alex Smith comes to sit next to me. I'm like, what? And he's just like, yeah, I mean, you're part of this team. I have to know who you are, what you're all about. I'm like, all right, respect. So like, you know, I think he was definitely the team oriented type of person, but not a guy that's gonna like rah. It's more of just kind of like a friend. You know what I'm saying? Stafford. Like we talked about, more of the even keel, just keeps it cool kind of type. You know, Gabbard, I just think never had a chance to showcase who he was.
Yeah, we have no idea, right?
And
he's too young.
Yeah, and I think DG, you know, I mean, once again, being on the defensive side of the ball, it's always hard to see like those interactions and the leadership qualities. But I just think the way that DG, number one, his personality, but also the way he played the game, earned the respect.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, he might have been a little bit of a rah guy himself, but like I just think like the guy would always give everything that he had, and if you sense that, you can roll with that person.
Yeah, that's true, and the resume kind of speaks in some of that, especially with Garrard, right?
Yeah,
put the work in since like 2004
Correct.
for a lot of those guys that were new to it.
Mm-hmm.
I get that.
Like, I mean, and maybe I'm wrong here. Like, you get like, okay, we'll say Joe Burrow. Does Joe Burrow really seem like a guy who's like, hey, all right, guys, rally behind me? Like, maybe he is. I haven't really seen it.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it.
But
the way he carries himself is probably more the...
Well, and I just think like Joe Burrow's like the ultimate Joe Cool, right? Like he just never too high, never too low. But also I think his play on the field when he's healthy, people rally behind that because he's a good player.
Well, I'll even say this to what you were just speaking about Alex Smith. I think of like a Tom Brady. Brady's a fiery guy, like on the sideline. I feel like you see it on the field, but I think the other 6 days a week, he's more Alex Smith than those guys, right? I don't see him like that in the building. He's a very relationship-oriented person. You see a bunch of stuff come out since he retired about how good of a teammate he was.
Sure.
About the last guy on the roster to the top guy on the roster. Like he got to know everybody. Like that's part of that role. Like that's got to be the fabric of who you are. It's maybe a little bit unfair to say, and you already play in a position that's very difficult. But I don't know if any other position in sports demands that you do that. Your relationships go deep. You have to think of that stuff.
Yeah.
You have to be real and genuine, and how you impact the last guy on the roster who's playing special teams matters.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if LeBron James in the 12th guy on the roster matters in basketball. Maybe it does. It's easier to do. You only have 12 guys. But
yeah.
I don't know if it matters to the impact of like Trevor has to have relationships in many respects. I know you said, hey, I play defense, not offense. Sure, you see them more on the offensive side, but he still has to have relationships on the defensive side of the football. He can't just go tote the offensive side of the line.
No, without a doubt.
So I think it's so unique, obviously, which makes that position very valuable, very hard, you have to have so many qualities. Like you can't fake it. Like in my opinion, you can't fake it because that's the other thing. People will see through it if you fake it.
And you know what's wild too is like, I mean, we say this all the time. The quarterback position is the ultimate double standard in professional sports.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I want a quarterback who's even keeled, never too high, never too low, just almost like a statue back there. You know, like unshakable. But you put that demeanor, you put that personality in any other guy on defense, it's like, whoa, does he really have that dog in him or not? Like, where's the intensity? Where's the fire? You know, like, it's wild how like we expect one thing from one position, but like you're talking about a linebacker or a safety, it's like, dude, I want to see you flexing every single hit. I want to see you getting in guys' faces. I want to see that dog in you. And the quarterback, it's like, I just want to see you more even. I don't want to see you. I don't want to see anything. Just statue, do your thing, assassin, killer. No emotion whatsoever.
Yeah, it is pretty wild. It is the double standard. Well, Trevor's got even more responsibility coming soon when he gets that new contract. Before we take a break, Rob, let's go Doug Peterson on Evan Ingram. We'll finish up the sound that we have from yesterday. If you didn't hear, Ingram's another guy. I mean, he's been so good. And we talked about him a little bit yesterday on the show. But here's Doug talking about his tight end.
He just continues to improve, just understanding defense, understanding our system, how he and Trevor are on the same page, and Evan's done a nice job just leading his room, him and Luke both. I mean, these are the two veteran guys in there, but Evan was a great addition for us, 3 years ago, and continues to really impress and really, he's another one of those guys that's taken more of that vocal stance, I think, especially with the offense, and he's also somebody that backs it up on the field. So he's done a nice job. Continues to lead by example, obviously. And again, he's not always the vocal guy, but when he needs to, he will.
Yeah, Ingram's interesting. I don't look at him as a super vocal leader, but I also look at him as a guy that is saying he's almost like if there's a guy that I envision as more pissed off about the way things ended last year, it's Evan Ingram.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so he's like, whatever I got to do, I'm going to do.
Sure.
And now he probably, and this goes back to what we say about players all the time, you've got to perform on the field. Now, the quarterback has to do it regardless, but it always helps when you perform on the field. Well, Evan Ingram, at this stage of his career, he's performed.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got to have, amongst the respects in the locker room, if you name the top 5 players, he's got to be on the list.
Without a doubt.
I mean, I think Fourier, what he's put together in his resume, obviously Josh, I think Trevor naturally because of the position he plays.
Kirk, you think? Christian Kirk?
Yeah, and by the way, there's probably more. Like Sheriff, people really probably value a guy like Sheriff, right? In his career, he's got more accolades than anybody. Mm-hmm. But Ingram's in the conversation is the point, whether you want to say 6 of them or 7 of them or whatever. So I think he now probably feels like, okay, when I talk, people are going to listen.
Sure.
So I need to talk a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised to see that at all. What that looks like, I don't know. He now has earned that level of respect, I believe, to be able to do it. So a more vocal Evan Ingram would not surprise me. And by the way, just fascinating where his career has turned and has a chance, if he can have another monster season for the Jags, I mean, to put himself obviously right up to, he's already got his name on the board, from the metrics. Mm-hmm. But you really start to say, wow, I mean, what a career. What a free agent acquisition, even more than we already do. Noon hour right around the corner. Don't forget, visit Donato's and Donato's Pizza in Mandarin Jack's Beach. Save 20%. Brent20 is the code. You can save 20% off your order. Mandarin and Jack's Beach, a good place to go for some lunch or maybe dinner tonight. Bring it home to the family. 2 locations in Jacksonville and maybe more to come. Mandarin and Jack's Beach. Brent Austen Show, noon hour on the way. We'll talk more about the high school news of the day with Kevin Sullivan coming up in about a half hour. We got a lot of other things to get to and still more football talk as well. And some news, by the way, that Novak, or is it Roger Federer? No, Novak Djokovic withdrew from the French Open due to a knee injury, by the way, in the quarterfinals. So he is out. These guys are getting old. Nadal, Djokovic, right? The legends of the tennis world for the last 2 decades are kind of aging out now, and some of those things are catching up with the older legs. Novak Djokovic out at the French Open. Coco Gauff, by the way, into the Final 4 on the women's side of things in the French Open. We'll talk a little bit about women's sports, which continues to boom in the headlines.
Oh, man, Brent, it's like a civil war out there.
And more football, more high school in the last hour of the show. It's up next on the Brent Austen Show. I like to say everybody has a story, and sometimes we're a part of other people's stories. That's the case here at Nimnick Buick GMC. My family and the Nimnick family. We've purchased 6 different vehicles from Nimnik Buick GMC. Maybe you're in the market for a truck. Well, let me tell you about the GMC Sierra. I absolutely love mine. I've had a couple of these. This one's a 2020, but right now on 2024 GMC Sierras here at Nimnik Buick GMC, there's special financing. A year ago, we purchased a GMC Terrain for the kids. Financing rates as low as 0.9% for eligible buyers on Terrains and no payments for 90 days. Looking for used instead of new? Buy a used car with the Car Bravo program. Nimnik Buick GMC certifies all makes and models. Let the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville take care of you and your family. Come on out and see the showroom, meet the fantastic people, or shop online at nimnikbuickgmc.com. Nimnik, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
It's hard to put a price on comfort, especially when you use that comfort on a daily basis. But if we're going to put a price on it, how does the lowest price guaranteed sound? Furniture Source is going to have the biggest brands, whether it's Ashley, Casper, or Tempur-Pedic, and once again, it's going to be the guaranteed lowest price in Jacksonville. Right now, my friends at Furniture Source are going to give you the ultimate hookup because all month long, they're making their inventory wholesale price. Check out their markdowns up to 50% off. And remember, since it's Furniture Source, you're getting the guaranteed lowest prices in Florida or your money back. Don't have the cash on you right now? It's no worry. Shop endless options to suit your style and budget and enjoy 36 months off with no interest financing. Why use your money when you can use theirs? Whether it's beds, couches, tables, or chairs, Furniture Source is going to have exactly what you're looking for. Shop the lowest prices in Jacksonville guaranteed. Find the location nearest you at FurnitureSourceJacks.com.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From 1954 to 2024, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. That commitment includes a partnership with the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team as the presenting sponsor of all Armada men's and women's broadcasts this summer. Action Sports Jacks and Alive Credit Union, a partnership that just makes sense when it comes to covering Northeast Florida. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of our first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
Oh man, it is that time. I love being outside, but it is just so hot. Oh my gosh, I cannot be outside. Well, you know, it doesn't have to be. As a matter of fact, I've got the perfect solution for you to be able to stay outdoors and not look like this guy.
GW Outdoor Solutions has the solution that will help you create areas of shade with their automated retractable awning. As the summer months inch closer, the high temperatures will be right there too. With GW Outdoor Solutions, go from scorching to cooling in no time with one simple push of a button. These innovative shade solutions not only provide protection from the sun and rain, but also add style and functionality to your home. Let GW Outdoor Solutions transform your backyard into paradise. Check out gwoutdoorliving.com for your free estimate.
New to town or always been in town? Everyone is always looking for a good pizza place. Our place is Donato's Pizza. We love it and still do love it. When I tell my family I'm coming to Donato's, they say, wait a minute, you got to order some for us. So this is not all for me. Let me tell you what the Martinos get when we put an order in. Well, pepperoni pizza, we usually get more than one of these. And then there's the works, a little bit of everything. And then this is the pizza that can be polarizing for some out there. I don't know why. Hawaiian pizza, some love it, some don't. At Donato's, you're gonna love it, especially with that cinnamon sprinkled on top. Try the pizza my family likes or try your favorite. Right now you can use the code Brent20 and get 20% off your order. Every viewer and listener is important to us, and at Donato's Pizza, every piece is important. From fresh ingredients to the dedicated team members and you, the valued customer. Donato's Pizza, where every piece comes together for a winning combination. Jack's Beach and Mandarin locations, Donato's Pizza. Every piece is important.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
Welcome back to the Brandon Austen Show here on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 Network. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane. Lunchtime. Hopefully you get out there and have yourself a good lunch to gear up for the rest of the day. Close it out in style for you. Talk a lot about the Jags, of course, today, which is what we always do. Heard from Trevor Lawrence and Doug Peterson. You can always check it out, by the way, in the Action Sports Jacks podcast, the Brent Austen Show, and always on the social media channels, too. We'll replay the show later in the day on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 Network. We do that each and every day. Don't forget, Miller and Moulton starts us off each and every day at 6 a.m. until 10 a.m. here on the network. And we've got a bunch of new programming that we're starting up, including after the game today at 2 o'clock, which debuts with Coach Kevin Sullivan and Josh Baker. Brought to you by Baker Sports and High School 912. And I think you're going to like that one. So hopefully you can check it out. All right, let's do some quick hitters.
Sure.
All right, there's a lot going on in the world of sports. We just mentioned all the high school stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go down the list that you sent me.
Oh, okay.
Angel Reese.
Well, this isn't a quick hitter. This could take a while. Yeah. Angel
Fires
Reese.
back. Okay. Yesterday we did a lot with the Caitlin Clark story. And we talked a lot about it on the show.
Yep.
So not to be repetitive, but the next turn in this after the show yesterday was then Angel Reese was asked about it. And the big thing that got everybody listening and talking yesterday was that she said, hey, this isn't just about Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
People started watching women's basketball at the feverishly high levels and talking about it because of our game, LSU and Iowa,
Correct.
when we won the national championship. Essentially, the view was, I want a piece of the pie. Now, it was a little bit taken out of some. They didn't finish off the soundbite, in fairness to Angel Reese as well.
They didn't. No, and
which they never do.
The exact quote was, I'll look back in 20 years and be like, the reason why we're watching women's basketball is not just because of one person, it's because of me too. I want y'all to realize that. That was the quote.
Is it?
Is it because of Angel Reese as well? Okay. So, I don't know how much you've been paying attention to bigger sports networks, but there's essentially a civil war going on right now between Caitlin Clark and defending her and then defending everybody else in the WNBA. And it's crazy to me because it almost like you have to take a side. There's no fence riding this one. Are you team Caitlin Clark or are you team Angel Reese and the other WNBA players? Here's what I think about it. And I'll be careful here, but here's what I truly think about it. I think Angel Reese was just as important as Caitlin Clark was in women's college basketball because I tuned in to watch the Angel Reese Caitlin Clark showdown. That's what put women's college basketball on the map to me. I was probably a little late to the party, okay? And in terms of social media popularity, in terms of influence outside of basketball, in terms of, essentially representing herself and maybe the black culture, being able to go to the Met Gala, being on the cover of magazines, fashion magazines, being at the forefront of that is Angel Reese, okay? Caitlin Clark's not going to the Met Gala. Caitlin Clark's not on the cover. I mean, she's on the cover of magazines, but fashion magazines. They're in their own separate worlds, okay? So in sports, I watch sports because I appreciate athletes, all right? I don't look at color. If Serena Williams was white, guess what? I would have watched Serena Williams just as much, okay? She happened to be black. She was dominant. It was awesome. It was an awesome run for Serena Williams and Venus Williams. It was a great story. Yeah, did them, being black maybe help in terms of getting viewership? Possibly. But once again, I respect what they're able to do on the court more than, well, these are black women. They're dominant women regardless. So, when I watch Caitlin Clark, I'm not going, well, this is a white girl doing her thing. I'm going, this is a woman's basketball player that I haven't really seen before in terms of what she can do. Now, if we talk about on-the-court things, Angel Reese, with all due respect, I would much rather watch Caitlin Clark because Caitlin Clark's game, to me, once again, this is just me speaking, is more entertaining than Angel Reese's game, okay? I don't need to see offensive rebounds and layups, okay? I would rather see Caitlin Clark stepping back, hitting a 40-foot three-pointer. Once again, maybe people are different. That's just me, speaking for me, okay? But I'm not naive to the fact of, I get it's more than just skill in professional sports now. it is the influence. It is what you bring outside of the game as well. And I think Angel Reese brings more outside the game than maybe Caitlin Clark even does at this point, right? But once again, I'm also not saying that your game on the court is as entertaining as Caitlin Clark's. So you can both be right. You can both be respectful. But not acknowledging each other and not acknowledging the other side is just creating a divide that doesn't need to happen.
Is it simply a black and white thing?
People are trying to make it out to be like that. Some people think that.
Or is it a deeper cultural thing, right? Is it like you just said, Met Gala, cool kids, Angel Reese versus Iowa girl, you know, which I know has maybe a black-white connotation, but doesn't. But it's deeper than that, right? I mean, because listen, you can have Stephen A. Smith or whatever. I think he's defending Caitlin Clark in this. So I mean, it's not like I think it's a little probably irresponsible to label it a just black-white thing.
Correct.
But I think there's deeper storylines here. It's this kind of this perception of good versus evil and this and that. I mean, all that's really transpired over the last couple of years, especially between these two figures in the college basketball world that's now translated to the WNBA.
No, without a doubt. And to me, what put Angel Reese on the map for me, and then why I continue to watch her was the whole, the ring on the finger. Now, once again, is that more of a black culture thing? Like, did you go to an inner city and see that behavior more than maybe like a pub? It's like a country club court, maybe, right? So like that's not talking about the culture. But once again, but
Caitlin Clark was doing demonstrative things on the court too. At the same time, that's what
exactly
it, right?
Exactly. So it goes back and forth. Like it's not. I don't know. Like I understand that there's no easy solution for this, but I think when you make it the black and white narrative, and I'm not going to call it lazy because I get like some of those things they're justified, they're rooted in some things, but I think it's a lot more to it than that. And whether it's politics or whether it seems like it's women's professional basketball. Well, by the way, the WNBA is the talk of the town now, like in sports. It's slow in football and everything like that. And maybe Trevor gets paid pretty soon. We got something else to talk about, but like women's college basketball is dominating the forefront right now in sports talk, and that's good for them, right? Like that keeps them relevant. But if you're worried about longevity, I just question why you refuse to work together.
Yeah, I don't get. We talked about this
or
yesterday,
just see
right?
the other side.
I think you're eating at your own league a little bit here. I don't know if this is good long term. It might be good for headlines right now. We live in a headline world, so maybe it does do that. But I think, what's wild to me is WNBA feels like to me, again, I'm not a WNBA expert by any means, but it feels like it's one of the most inclusive leagues we have.
Yeah.
And yet we're seeing a major divide being prompted by the league. This is not, by the way, prompted by the outside world first. This was prompted by them on the court in the way they're talking off the court in this situation instead of being inclusive. And this is good for the game and good for the sport. And, let that other stuff manifest itself. Let the Bird Magic rivalry manifest by itself. Let whatever kind of polarizing things, Draymond Green or Dennis Rodman, manifest itself. This was almost like internally, the players of the league have fed into this that has now kind of finally reached outside courts and arenas and now to microphones. That once that happens, it's in a whole different stratosphere.
And you know what it seems like to me? And then, like, for some reason, I feel like some players have problems with when males speak about the WNBA. Like, we don't get a say, even though I feel like you need the male audience, you need the male demographic to be successful.
Absolutely.
Like, you need guys like me to watch your product.
Yeah.
All right? Because with all due respect, you're going to see a lot more guys with drinking beers and painting their chests and everything than women.
Yeah.
Now, if you go to Edmonton Oilers game...
More of that.
But back on topic, you need people
more Edmonton Oilers fans.
Yeah, you need more Edmonton Oilers fans. But no, like you need people like me because like I'll tune in and watch. If I'm flicking through, I see ESPN, Indiana Fever, I'm gonna watch it. All right, I'm on board. Let's see what the girl's got. Let's see what she can do. But it just it's almost like the WNBA wasn't even ready for it. Like, we want to talk about
know how to handle it.
Yeah, we're all for equal equal everything. Great. I'm all for it. If you have the audience, if you have the revenue, then yeah, equal for everybody. The NBA's the NBA because they're always ready. Right now, yeah, granted there's been some the whole China thing, but they're always ahead of things. WNBA, it seems like they're behind. And you guys were not ready for all this.
That's a good point.
And it's showing.
That's a really good point.
So, but then how are you going to say, we should be treated like NBA players, but then you're not ready for it?
Yeah, and does that...
You aren't going to press conferences. You're going to fine somebody $1,000. Angel Reese makes that in one Instagram post.
Yeah. That's a good call. Do you think that? Do you think they just weren't ready for it?
Yes.
Just from the top down?
They didn't have the foresight. Yeah. To me, it falls on everybody.
Could we have the foresight that it would balloon to this?
I mean, how could
you continue? Because it kind of was going there, right?
You knew it was going to go
there in college basketball.
Look at the college basketball numbers. We're up there with the men's. And listen, I was the hater of that because Brent even said, I think the women's, and I'm like, come on, they got wrestling to watch on the weekends. What are we talking? No, it was. It was right up there with the men's. So you had to know the storm was coming, right? And
it's a good call.
You weren't ready.
I think that's a very good way to say it. I think that's a top-down thing, and how you're going to embrace it, how you're going to market it. These are important things. Right now, it's a little bit all over the place. It has no direction. Where does it end? And my feeling on it, by the way, this is fine for headlines now and talk, and everybody's talking about it. I don't know if it's good for the league long-term. I don't know. I said this yesterday. I think it's better for the league right now if Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark are scoring 30 a game.
Correct.
It's not great if this is what you're talking about instead of in a 3-point outing for Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
You should be rooting. If you are a player in the WNBA, you should be rooting for Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese to be scoring a bunch and to be putting on a show.
And then guess what?
Sports Center highlights.
And then there's trash talking back and forth too as well.
And then that's
throw
fine.
it all in the mix.
But you got to be good first.
Correct.
We just talked about this with NFL guys. How can you lead if you don't perform?
Yeah.
Well, how can they be the faces?
Yeah.
If they don't perform?
Yeah.
And I'm not telling you that they're not going to perform, but again, there seems like there are too many people, at least my perception of this, rooting against these young women.
Yes.
And specifically, I think right now, Clark, to want to see failure.
Well, but now Angel Reese is getting a lot of blowback,
and now she's
too.
getting the blowback more. But you should be rooting for them.
Correct.
For the overall goodness of the league and raising the sport. To get to look all the work that's been put in for years and decades, and by people like Donna Orender, who lives right in Jacksonville, by the way, who's one of the most powerful women in sports, has got to the point where we're talking about women's sports at an alarming rate.
Yeah.
I mean, I just mentioned Coco Gauff in the French Open making another run. We mentioned Simone Biles yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, Simone Biles has been unbelievable. We were talking Charley Hull.
Yeah.
We were just talking about Nelly Korda recently, who's dominating the golf world. Women's sports, and that was really what I was going to say today, is headlining so many things. And controversy is okay. Polarization is sometimes okay. Gets people talking. But product at the end of the day does matter.
Of course. And Angel Reese even alluded to this now. She's going to embrace the bad guy, if you will. The villain. Okay. And you know what? And that's fine. If that's going to be your thing. I mean, look at Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
Okay? Conor McGregor hasn't fought in how long, Brent? And he's still the biggest name in MMA. He cancels a press conference yesterday, and it's the talk of the MMA world.
Yeah.
Conor McGregor is probably not even ranked in the top 10 right now. But he's so polarizing. He's so captivating that he's always going to have that following. Now, every once in a while, he can back it up in the cage as well. But what Angel Reese has to realize is not everybody watching your product right now cares that you were with Megan Thee Stallion on stage. Not everybody watching your product cares that you're at the Met Gala. I do, because I see these things. Not everybody knows that. Not everybody is affected by your influence. Caitlin Clark has it easier because, she can go drop a 40-foot 3-point shot, and it's that looks amazing.
Yeah.
Right? So once again, I'm not saying either side is wrong. I see both sides. What you just want to see is both sides respect each other and grow together. But we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know what the end game here is. It's interesting, but I think you're right. They got to get their arms around this and kind of direct it. It's got to have some direction sooner or later.
Yeah.
Because one thing that is for sure, when you get an opportunity like this where people are talking about you, you get the platform. This is what we wonder a little bit about even women's college basketball. You just had a boon and you just had all these eyeballs. How do you take advantage of that? There are many people over time that sit back, soak that in, appreciate it, and organizations and businesses and other things, and then don't do enough with it to propel them into the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. Right now, the WNBA has a chance. Yeah. And you just, I think you brought up the best point of all, is that it looks like they weren't ready for it. If they're not ready for this, then how do you direct it into the future? They got to get their arms around it in a hurry. They need good leadership to figure out. And again, they do need good play.
No, that's more important than anything, right? Of what it looks
play.
like. Yes,
the product
correct.
does matter.
Yeah.
All right, a couple other things. That wasn't a quick hitter, but that was a good topic. Darren Waller dropped another diss track.
Yeah.
Which keeps our business flowing.
Yeah.
We're ahead of the game. We're ready for this.
Yeah. Basically.
I'm just a co-signing.
Oh, no, you're good, man. So Darren Waller puts out another song talking about, football. And once again, it seems like his past relationship. Brent, if you're the Giants right now organization, what are you thinking?
I hope he retires.
Because there's no indication whether he's coming to OTAs or...
He still hasn't done that.
Hasn't done that yet.
Like, you have to hope he retires. Like, I don't want to deal with Darren Waller if I'm I got enough.
Yeah.
I don't know if... We always talk about this, like, is the game better, right? Does the production outweigh the distraction?
Yeah.
I don't think it does in this case. I mean, what can you rely on from Darren Waller? Can you even rely on Darren Waller being there in October or December, even if he's playing well? Like, I don't know. So I would say I am rooting hard.
Yeah.
And maybe even encouraging.
Sure.
Him to retire and figure things out.
Yeah. And I agree with that too. Like, if I'm ownership right now and I'm seeing this and I'm not getting a clear answer, I mean, because come on, let's be honest here. These conversations have had to take place. Like, whether it's a coach or GM reaching out to Darren Waller and saying, "Hey, man, how you doing?
Yeah.
Hey, you coming back or not?" Like,
he's got to have a buddy on the team.
There's had been some kind of dialogue. So, once again, I also understand that, like, Antonio Brown has kind of set a blueprint now where it's like kind of the more unsuspecting, outlandish things that you do in today's society, you're propped up for that. Like, we had this conversation during the break, Brent. If you would have told me that Antonio Brown stripping off his shirt, parading around, getting in some trouble would have led to an internet craze of Antonio Brown, I would have said you're absolutely crazy. And then you would have told me that his song became a popular smash hit. I would have been like, there's no way in hell. Antonio Brown has essentially reinvented himself. And once again, not saying it's for me, not saying it's for you, but he's out there, man. And people are responding to it.
The only thing I don't know about the Antonio Brown stuff, I would say this, and I agree with you, like, it's crazy, right? It's taken off. It's weird. The whole thing is, I mean, it's like watching Andrew Dice Clay do comedy. I mean, it's a train wreck that you don't want your mom or your wife or anybody else to even know that you're looking at and you're watching and listening, right?
That's real quick. So me and Nate, you remember Nate Collins?
Yeah.
Me and Nate Collins in the locker room, just like during 2-a-days and stuff, when we needed to pass the time, we used to always quote Andrew Dice Clay comedy. But anyways, please continue.
Yeah, I'd like to quote Andrew Dice Clay comedy too, but I won't.
Yeah.
What's in the...
I got you.
I won't even say it. Now I'll be canceled for even hinting I'm saying it.
Yeah.
But what I don't understand is what's it getting him outside of fame. This is what I say a lot about, like, videos. Like, if I put a video out today and it gets 3.5 million views and all the kids are like, "Oh my gosh, you got 2.5 million views." Guess what? I didn't make a dime. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I got like 5 more viewers, and I didn't make a dime necessarily off that specific. Just for it, we had a post go viral, right? The Patrick Mahomes stuff.
Yeah.
It's not like all of a sudden somebody sent us a check for $10,000 because it went viral.
Yeah.
Now
I was like, good, cool. More people know about us.
Good for sales overall and stuff. But like, hey, look what it could potentially do.
Oh, yeah.
I see that. But first of all, who's linking their name with Antonio Brown right now anyway as an influencer? Do you see? I don't see a lot.
Well,
of that.
Brent. Okay, I mean, if you want to go back, he was with Madonna. I think I showed you the video. Madonna, Kanye West, and a bunch of other people hanging out, like a video of them together.
Like stabilization of that trio is really good.
Well, okay, hey,
I mean,
I'm not saying it's probably like the most group you want to bring home to dinner with your mom. But I'm saying in terms of, once again, popularity and social media,
they hang around.
That's big.
But I'm not. Listen, first of all, he filed for bankruptcy, so maybe he does get some money out of it, appearance stuff out of it. I'm just saying, what's the end game? He's not getting a job out of it. He's not going to get another NFL job out of it. Maybe he does get some kind of show. Maybe he becomes the next. His second life is he's some form of entertainment because somebody latches on. Like I'm not dismissing that, but I don't know what that equals.
So this is me speaking from an old school mentality of social media and playing in the NFL. There was a time when I had my social media, especially Twitter, because this was big back when I was playing, where I was like the anti-football player. I would never tweet football stuff because I didn't want to be known as Austin Lane, the football player. I want to be known as me. So I would tweet funny stuff. I would tweet things that could showcase my personality more than a football player. And guess what? I got reactions. I got likes. And back then, I'm like, oh, people like me. They're, I'm getting likes. I'm getting retweets. Like, this feels good, right? Like, this matters to me. And then the older that I got and the more that I saw what social media actually was just basically, like, I don't care anymore. Now, am I getting roasted in the comments on Twitter for my Trevor Lawrence thoughts yesterday? Yeah. And you know what? I'll stand by it because I think if you're going to celebrate and you're going to cheer for your team to lose, that guy that comes in should be a top 5 quarterback. Like, you should have that expectation. That's just where I stand. Now, am I going to get back to everybody and getting fisticuffs and Twitter debates? And nah, because don't got the time for it, okay? Don't have the time or energy, but most importantly, I don't care. Brent, long time ago, had a Tim Tebow video. I was trying to prove a point, saying I could put out a Tim Tebow video and it would get all the clout because he's like the hot topic. Put out the Tim Tebow video. I think it was, at the end of the day, it might have been just under 1 million impressions. Didn't care. Just tried to prove a point. Didn't change my life at all. So I think we're the outliers here, Brent, when we talk about, we really, like, dude, the Patrick Mahomes thing, which is still stupid. And it goes to show you how stupid the internet is. Okay. We've had so much better videos that we put out that inspire, that break things down, that give good information, that talk about a social climate sometimes, hard-hitting issues. And the video that goes viral for us is Patrick Mahomes without a shirt on, and everyone's in their feelings about that, and I'm getting made fun of, and you're getting made fun of, and Brent's sexuality is getting questioned. That's the video?
All because you mentioned sweet tarts and I mentioned a truck.
That's what we're talking about, right? So, Brent, that's the landscape that we're living in.
That is.
And we don't get it, right? But I think there's a lot of people out there like Darren Waller, like Antonio Brown, that revel in the interaction. That revel in the feedback. That revel in the likes or the retweets, and they're all about it.
Or we do get it.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, we do get it. Yeah. Everyone talking smack to me, I'm going to respond to every one of you after the show.
Let's take a break. We'll get Kevin Sullivan on about FHSAA stuff going on today. When we come back, just want to let you know, we got a big weekend here with our Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. And we got the Armada matches Friday night. Coverage starts at 6:30 on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Then 2 big events on Saturday coming up. Side by side, Armada match at 2:30 in the afternoon. Coverage will begin. And also the Old School Kingfish Shootout on Saturday afternoon. That one will be played on the Action News Jacks Now stream. So if you go to the app, if you go to actionnewsjacks.com, if you're looking from your living room on the Action News Jacks Now app and watching all the streams that we have, you can just flip back and forth so you can see both. And then Sunday, we'll replay all of it on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. So kind of a banner weekend for us. We've got a couple Armada matches, the Old School Kingfish Shootout live as well. We're really looking forward to it, and hopefully you are too. And you can find it on our networks, on the actionnewsjacks.com website and the Action News Jacks app, and of course on Google TV and Roku and all the other places, Apple TV, you name it, we got it. You can watch it.
It's a new logo, new branding. With Bold City Heating and Air, it's an old school approach. One of the few locally owned and operated air conditioning businesses left in Jacksonville. It's hot, Florida in the summer. You can't do much to avoid it, but you can keep cool with Bold City Heating and Air. It's every customer counts kind of service, from when these trucks have pulled up to my home over the last couple of years and when they pull into your driveway as well. From communication to pricing to the actual service, everyone at Bold City Heating and Air cares about you. You know who is coming to your house. You know they will be well trained, and they will respect your home. Air conditioning convenience at boldcityac.com. Stay cool while it gets hot. Bold City Heating and Air can help. Don't get caught sweating all summer. boldcityac.com, and they have financing to help. New systems starting at $110 a month and $50 off any repairs. Stay safe, stay comfortable with Bold City Heating and Air at boldcityac.com. Homegrown in your hometown.
It's the fishing tournament everyone wants to catch. The Daily's Old School Kingfish Shootout presented by Yellowfin. It's June 8th. Limited boundaries, no bait buying, no checkout. If you don't catch the big one, just catch any size kingfish and have a chance to win $10,000 with a Nimnik Lucky Ticket. It's the Old School Kingfish Shootout, and you can catch it live on the Action News Jax Now stream and the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. It's on Saturday, 2 o'clock, and it'll replay on Sunday on the Action News Jax app and actionnewsjax.com.
When you think sports, you think Action Sports Jax, the official station of the Jaguars, on location for every game. But the most experienced team in town doesn't stop there. From high school football to the big events in the area, Action Sports Jax is always on. Now, we take that to a new level. Action Sports Jax 24/7 is around-the-clock coverage of the teams you love and the moments you can't miss. The best local sports in Jacksonville on Action Sports Jax 24/7.
In Northeast Florida, we love hanging out on the back patio, maybe grilling out lunch or dinner with the family, enjoying the good weather, or maybe enjoying the big game on the TV. Or maybe your favorite team in town, the Action Sports Jax team. This is great, except for when it's really hot or the bugs start coming out. But what if you didn't have to worry about that? Titan Outdoor Solutions will make your outdoor area a comfortable spot, any time of the day, any time of the year. This makes too much sense. Titan Outdoor Solutions can give your home an upgrade. Customized pergolas, awnings, controlled shade, even retractable screens. The solution to beating the heat and the bugs and getting more use out of your home is Titan Outdoor Solutions. And this can even help prevent storm damage at your home. Living in Florida and living in your home is already good. Now make it great. Quality products, custom work, locally owned and operated. Visit TitanShuttersAndScreens.com or call 904-484-7580.
Hey everyone, Olivia Tasley here from Action Sports Jax to tell you all the different ways you can watch our new 24/7 network. 3 easy steps. You don't even need a pen and paper to write it down. Step number 1, download the app. Search Action News Jax in your app store, either on your phone or your smart TV. Then, once you're on the app, click on that little drop-down menu in the upper left-hand corner with the 3 little lines. That'll show you these options, and boom, right here, click Action Sports Jax 24/7, and you will be brought to our continuous stream channel. That app can be accessed through all these different platforms, whether you have Roku, Fire TV, Smart TV, Apple TV, or Google TV. You can find our app. Now, if you don't have access to the app, don't worry, we still got you covered. We're across all social media platforms, from Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Twitch. We have a podcast channel. Plus, check out our short reels on our TikTok. Action Sports Jax 24/7. It's on all the time and everywhere.
It's the place we party in football season with Jaguars All Access. Welcome to Spring Sports Brewery, everybody. Say hello to our guest tonight. That is Trevor Lawrence. You can bring your party or event to Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield any day and any time. Rehearsal dinners, corporate events, birthdays. Here at Strings, you can enjoy the inside area and the outside area. Good for any weather, good for any occasion. Watch the games, play the games, shoot some hoops. Beer? Yeah, they have that. Plenty of choices. And sure, this is a brewery, but Strings is also a restaurant, and the food is fantastic. A full menu made from scratch meals. And if you need String Sports Brewery to help with a party at your place, they cater too. Family, beer, food, sports. Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield.
the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Hey, welcome back here, Brent and Austen Show. We were going to be at Furniture Source today. Pulled an audible there and the Avenues Mall, so we'll obviously be back there in future weeks and months and many times in the Avenues Mall Blanding location as well. So we're going to make a couple different stops. By the way, they're at Furniture Source where they have an inventory reduction sale. Wholesale prices to the public. Bedroom sets $499, living room sets $699, queen mattress $299. $5 million worth of inventory has to go at Furniture Source in the Avenues Malls and Blanding. So check it out, Furniture Source. And again, we'll be there with the show in coming weeks. Brent Martineau, Austen Lane. We will be at String Sports Brewery on Thursday. We'll be at Best Bet St. Augustine on Friday. And right now, we're probably somewhere on 95 with Coach Kevin Sullivan as he joins us here on the show as he was at Jaguars OTAs. We weren't allowed into this one, Coach, so don't tell us too many of the secrets of what you saw there with the Jaguars. Or maybe you can.
Well, listen, sunshines and rainbows. I already booked our tickets for the Super Bowl. Let's roll.
Enough said.
Let's roll. You're already thinking about are you making that Vegas trip, by the way? Is that one you're going to?
I think so. I think this year we're going to go to Vegas. Yeah, I think so.
That'd be good. And then we'll see
you. Talk the wife into not going there.
Yeah, we'll see you in New Orleans then at the Super Bowl.
Coach, listen, man, obviously we can't really talk about what you saw at OTAs day and everything, but blink if you saw the use of a fullback. Okay.
By the way, do you have a driver?
But it's not really a driver. Here, look. Say hi, Rick. It's Coach Rip, guys. It's not really
That's Coach Rip. There you go.
They put me in the back seat because I'm the smallest.
When's the last time you sat in the back seat, Coach?
Last time I sat in the back seat? I don't know. We can't go into that story. We'll save that for the show.
Hey, I'm assuming you're talking about Jags practice in that car and also what just transpired in the FHSAA today. Give us a coach perspective, a guy that's been around it for a long time at the name, image, likeness ruling today. I know there's a lot of different details and you get into the weeds, but surface level, what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, you know, it was going to be inevitable once it came down through college and everything. And I think the main thing, and we hit on this in the show with Coach Krause, I think the main thing is a lot of the public school people are going to feel at a disadvantage because of the public-private thing. And I think that's probably more than what I've seen lately from, say, coaches online or whatnot, is that this really doesn't level the playing field at all and sort of the rich get richer type of thing.
Yeah, it seems like that's happened quite a bit over the years too, right? I mean, in the state of Florida, where from the transfer stuff to everything else, everything seems to lean toward the private schools. Is that kind of how public school coaches feel?
Yeah, I think so. I think the main thing with it is, and it's really going to affect probably 1 or 2%. But again, the 1 or 2%, you know, if it's the big time quarterback or the big time wideout, I don't think the linemen are getting any NIL deals unless they're going to Whataburger or something like that. You know, we're actually pulling in, so I didn't want to plug them, but it just came up because we're.
Well, by the way, we start Whataburger Wednesdays tomorrow, so that was very well done.
Perfect timing, Coach.
Oh, okay. Hey, I'm already getting get me a free drink today.
Hey, why won't they increase coach salaries? Because one of the things here that you're going to get instant feedback on is that sooner or later there are going to be some players making more than coach. And by the way, that's not an enormous amount of money. I mean, we're talking about stipends around $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for coaches. What has been obviously you guys have fought that for a long time as coaches. Why haven't they done it?
Well, because it comes down to the unions. And so when they start negotiations with the teacher salaries and everything, the first thing that go are the coaches' supplements. Because they don't think like we think. Your greatest dropout prevention are your athletic programs, your band programs, you know, the stuff that kids get involved in that make them want to come to school and actually keep them in school. And they're not invested in that. And they haven't done it in this state in a long time. I mean, I coached as a head coach for 27 years and I made $5,500 my last year as the head football coach, whether I went 10-0 or 0-10. nothing for the playoffs, nothing at all. So we're definitely always have been behind with that. And our big thing, like, we wanted to push this initiative. Hey, just put us on 12 months. Put us on 12 months. Heck, that's an extra $2,500 a month in the summer based on my teacher salary. Make us 12-month employees. But no, that, they didn't do that. So that's a long way to go, and that's got to come from the legislation. That's the only way the coaching salaries.
27 years in Georgia, what would you have made instead of $5,500? Do you think?
Oh shoot, I'd have been 25, 30,000, without a doubt.
At least 10 times.
Should hit that portal, man. Should hit that transfer portal, coach. Dang, man, that's a lot of Whataburgers right there. Man.
Well, I mean, it is what it is. We knew we were never going to get rich doing it, but I think their point is they'll find somebody to do it, whether it's me or whether it's some other guy. They'll find him and pay him and whatever, and it's just not important. And as great as the athletes, as great as football is in the state of Florida, it's down there like 49th in the country. I think they pay him better in Alaska too.
Yeah, that is crazy. Kevin Sullivan visiting with us. Coach, parents are going to have to police this NIL stuff. I think parents are like the worst part of the equation, maybe in youth sports. Like, that seems like it could be a disaster for kids are going to get themselves in. There's already enough to deal with in high school as a student. Forget about a student athlete. And now I don't know who's looking out for the kid here is going to be the problem, I think.
Yeah, well, that's a whole nother thing. And you've dealt with, I mean, I've had a parent back in the day turned down a full ride scholarship because it wasn't good enough on National Signing Day. Oh no, we're not doing that. We're not signing that. He's better than that. He should be playing at Florida or whatnot instead of playing where he was offered and ready to sign to. And that was 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And so imagine now, like, everybody's going to be looking for money, using these kids. Hey, some of these kids, man, they got enough going on their plate, like you said, getting to practice, taking care of their academics. Some of them got to go home, watch their siblings and everything like that. Financially, it's going to help them. But, boy, they're already getting pulled in 10,000 directions now. Travel leagues, they're down in Miami playing this weekend. Then they're out in Dallas playing next weekend, 7-on-7 in Seattle. I mean, it's crazy, man. To me, high school football was meant to be high school football in your community, playing up with your boys, enjoying, making lifelong lessons. If you got a scholarship or whatnot, that was great, but that wasn't the end all be all. But that seems like that's all that matters now.
Coach, we saw NIL come to college football, and obviously I was in favor for it of paying the players and everything. But I think what we've seen now with the NCAA is that they didn't have the foresight to see what was going to, happen after NIL, and now it's the Wild West #1, but it's a nightmare leading the question: will the NCAA even be a thing in the next 10 to 15 years? When you see the high school landscape and you see the NIL get implemented, I mean, are you going to run a risk of essentially the same thing where they didn't have the foresight to see how this was going to go down, and now we're talking about just an absolute mess in terms of high school sports?
Well, listen, Austin, the thing about, like, and I don't want to bash the FHSA because Brent's been doing that for the last month, but they come out with all these rules about transfer, and the homeschool kid can only play at the school he's zoned for, but he can be homeschooled. I'm talking like 10, 15 years ago. Well, that all went by the wayside. That all got loopholed and found a way. They can't police the recruiting going on now, or I'm taking my talents to, Bishop Kenny to play my last year or something. You know what I mean? Like, they can't do that. They're not going to be able to police this NIL, again, because the parents are going to find the loophole, find around it, use the money the right way. Look, if you're on Main Street and Joseph's Restaurant has a kid and they're going to say, hey, we want to pay you $500 to do this commercial for us on Main Street, come in here and eat, that's one thing. But to say, hey, I own JoJo's construction company and I want you to come to Bowles and we're going to give you $5,000 a month, that's a different thing.
Yeah, we'll get to that point maybe.
Brent, I can't wait till my son gets older. We're going to negotiate my contract where he's going to have final say of all the highlights that you show, okay? You're going to give him a little money under the table, a little endorsement deal from Action Sports Jacks, or else I'll walk off here too.
Yeah, that's how we're going to do it. The power of the player. Hey, one last one for you. Championship division. How about that? The Max Preps top 8, I don't know if you saw that, how much you know about it, but are they going to create like a double elimination thing in all sports? Does that include football?
Yes, it's supposed to include football, and I think the reason they doing it is for football because of the St. Thomas Aquinas and some of those schools. The way they'll work it out, they'll have the top 8 schools, and they'll play round robin, and I guess it'll be double elimination. So I guess they'll play 10 games and then play 4 more maybe on top of that, sort of to go along with the state tournament, state championship week. Which is a positive, but again, I think you're going to get up there. The team's the AC, and they're 8th going into week 11, last game of the year, and they're like, well, if we win, we're in the final 8. If we lose, we drop back and win the state championship in 8A. So again, and then I also heard you can opt out of it if you don't want to do it. So I don't know if that's a thing or not. I don't know. I think it's watered down enough with the 7 classifications, 8 classifications. I think it's watered down enough. And we talked about this before. I just don't know why we just don't go the Georgia route and big regions, 8, 9, 10 regions, 9, 10 team regions, and the top 4 go and you play the playoffs. So I don't know.
It's become my new barometer. Do they do this in Georgia? And if they don't, I'm like, well, then stop it, FHSAA. Just do what they do in Georgia. It's amazing. I never thought we'd get here, with all due respect to the state of Georgia. But Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Kevin Sullivan. All right, man. How many burgers is Ripley going to eat?
He's going to get at least 2. I guarantee you that.
Well, hopefully they're buying for you. Go. And I'm glad to see you wearing your seatbelt too on this ride.
Hey, there you go.
Nicely done, Coach.
Safety first. Safety number 1.
All right. Thanks, man.
Right.
Thanks for jumping in, and we're looking forward to the new show starting at 2:00 today.
Awesome.
All right, that is coming up today. That's Kevin Sullivan, by the way. Safe drive home after the game, Tuesdays and Fridays, 2:00. It'll be the same episode, just to let you know, and we'll probably even replay it more throughout the week. But just to start, 2:00, Tuesdays and Fridays. It starts today. Kevin Sullivan is our featured guest. He actually will be the host and co-host of the show with Josh Baker, and we have Brian Braddock and Cedric Faison and Tim Krause along the way this month. So it'll be a weekly show with a new guest, and really excited about it. I mean, I encourage you to check it out because Sully's awesome. He has a lot of fun stories, and he's retired, so now he really shares the stories.
Yeah.
I mean, just a couple of teases. He talks a lot about Leon Washington, but also like he shares the story behind an illegal scrimmage with Reigns back in the day.
A little behind the scenes. I like that.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not sure you're going to get that from the current coach.
Story time.
But you can do that from the Hall of Famer. So 2:00 today. Check it out. Again, people ask, where can you find the network? Where can you see us? This is not going to be on social media. This show, you got to go to actionnewsjacks.com, the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network, which can be found there in the Action News Jacks app. And there's even a tutorial on social media attached to some of these teases that we put with Olivia Tasley on how to find it easily. So you can get there, but check it out. I think you're going to like it a lot. All right, let's do this. Take a time out. Some really good stuff from Coach on all that FHSAA, NIL, championship division. I think the championship division is a good idea, but I don't think it really is going to be. I think there's going to be a lot of people complaining about that. I hadn't even thought about what Coach said. You'll lose on purpose, so you'll win a state championship and you're not in the top 8. Just some crazy stuff. I don't know if I will say this. I say this all the time. I know we hammer the FHSAA. I think that's rightful in a lot of respects. I think transparency is their worst part of it. To be honest, I think they've got to get better at transparency. I would just be satisfied with more transparency from them, how they operate, how they do things, educating the public, educating moms and dads, coaches, players, all the rest. If they just started there, I'd applaud them at least. But they have a hard job. I mean, they have a hard job. There's a lot of sports. There's a lot of student athletes. There's a lot going on in the world. There are a lot of schools. And it's not all equal. So they have to form regulations that somebody's going to lose out in that. But then there's also a lot of logic that doesn't seem they follow. And that's why they get a lot of criticism. And the transparency, we start there. All right, we got to be transparent and go to a break. Brent Austen Show comes back. We'll put a bow on the show. A couple other topics. We got to get to Charley Hull. And then we're going to have a bunch of leftover topics from yesterday, I got a feeling, too. Or for tomorrow, a show on Wednesday coming up with Austin and Jason Hamby. We'll be right back. New to town or always been in town? Everyone is always looking for a good pizza place. Our place is Donato's Pizza. We love it and still do love it. When I tell my family I'm coming to Donato's, they say, wait a minute, you got to order some for us. So this is not all for me. Let me tell you what the Martinos get when we put an order in. Well, pepperoni pizza, we usually get more than one of these. And then there's the works, a little bit of everything. And then this is the pizza that can be polarizing for some out there. I don't know why. Hawaiian pizza, some love it, some don't. At Donato's, you're going to love it, especially with that cinnamon sprinkled on top. Try the pizza my family likes or try your favorite. Right now, you can use the code BRENT20 and get 20% off your order. Every viewer and listener is important to us, and at Donato's Pizza, every piece is important. From fresh ingredients to the dedicated team members and you, the valued customer. Donato's Pizza, where every piece comes together for a winning combination. Jack's Beach and Mandarin locations. Donato's Pizza, every piece is important.
People helping people is at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From 1954 to 2024, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. That commitment includes a partnership with the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team as the presenting sponsor of all Armada men's and women's broadcasts this summer. Action Sports Jacks and Alive Credit Union, a partnership that just makes sense when it comes to covering Northeast Florida. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of our first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning. And mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Right now, you can save $1,000 or more when you bundle the Connecticut Premier Softener with a Connecticut K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Financing options available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
What started out as better people, better projects just keeps getting, well, better. That's Better Exterior Solutions, ready to help you create a better outdoor experience. Check this out. Motorized pergolas are the latest in technology to transform your outdoor space. Beautiful day? Let the sun shine through. Summer rainstorm? These pergola systems close automatically to keep the weather out. From residential to commercial uses, Better Exterior Solutions has products customized to meet virtually any existing architectural structure. With retractable awnings, screens, and hurricane shutters too, if you want unparalleled quality and expertise, you need Better Exterior Solutions. Get a free estimate by visiting betterexteriors.com or calling 904-902-4999. Better Exterior Solutions. Experience better.
We all have our favorite spots in town to eat, drink, and have a good time. And once in a while, we try a new spot. This new spot will soon become your favorite spot. It's 1937 Spirits and Eatery in San Marco. Where else can you get unicorn fish? It was really good. They have local fresh seafood. Try a terrific burger or a Jack's Hot Chicken sandwich. The ambiance is perfect for any occasion. The idea here is to have fun, have a good time. Whether you're chilling out on the couches, cozying up to the bar, having lunch or dinner, it's a throwback experience. 1937, when going out to dinner was like going to a party. They even have a photo booth. Who doesn't like a good photo booth? We recently brought the entire team out to try it, and everyone said, I'm bringing my significant other here to try it as well. The new spot becomes your favorite spot. Make 1937 Spirits and Eatery in San Marco your new favorite spot.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
Hey, welcome back here to the Brent Austen Show. Okay, a lot to get to. Man, where does the time go? We have 3 hours, and I still can't get to like half the things on our list.
It's because we specialize in the spontaneous, man. That's the way to do it, Brent.
It does happen. The Charley Hull story.
Yes.
You fell in love last week. I just wanted to see where you stand.
Let me go ahead and just put myself in a more comfortable position here. Yeah, I'm still in love, obviously. You don't just fall out of love in like a day.
Yeah. What I would like to know, though, where were you over the weekend? Were you in Jacksonville, or did you make your way to the U.S. Open?
I was in Jacksonville.
Okay.
Are
you sure?
And now, Brent, go ahead and put your earmuffs on. Had the TV locked on NBC to watch me some woman. I actually turned it on. I'm like, oh, there it is.
You turned it on, Charley Hull. Got you to watch a little women's golf.
I may have. What is it? You have to watch for like 5 minutes for it to actually count as a rating.
Yeah,
is
did
it?
you do it for 4? Hopefully.
Oh no, I mean, sorry, man. I was probably about like 10 minutes into it before my son's like, "We watch something else." I'm like, "Yeah, okay."
All right. Well, here's what Charley Hull. I guess it wasn't Austin.
Wasn't
but it
me.
was others.
Yeah.
Trying to also who are falling in love with Charley Hull.
Yeah, it's actually quite funny. I don't know, all over a cigarette, I suppose. But I generally was walking to the range, had my hands full. Someone asked me for an autograph, and I'm not going to say no because I always like signing autographs to them. Just had my cigarette in my mouth, signed it, and then it's gone viral. But I don't know, it's just one of them things. But then it's been crazy. Like the fans have been shouting my name this week. Someone said I've dropped something and then handed their phone number in my hand, on a piece of paper in my hand, and I thought it was so funny. I was like, "Here's my number. Text me so we can figure out where I'm taking out for dinner tonight." I never text them, obviously, but it was just so funny. But yeah, no, it's been a bit of a wild week, pretty cool, and I wish the crowds were like this more often.
Yeah, see, that wasn't me, man. Okay,
you wouldn't have done that.
No, I mean, first of all, the way that she says her A's is fantastic, and my name starts with an A, so off to a fantastic start, Brent. Now, what you didn't notice what she said?
I didn't pick that up.
Autograph. Can you can you replay a little bit where she says autograph like 5 times? Mwah, chef's kiss.
Yeah, it's actually quite funny. I don't know, all over a cigarette, I suppose. But I generally was walking to the range, had my hands full. Someone asked me for an autograph, and I'm not going to say no because I hope.
An autograph. Yeah,
autographs.
I love that.
Yeah,
No. Austin. Yep, love that. Love that. It just roll. Yeah, just roll around your mouth a little bit. Feels good. Okay, now I wasn't there, Brent, because if I would have been there, it would have been a different story. Okay, all I got to do is, hey, Charley, Austin Lane, nice to meet you. Big fan. I like the cigarette. Red Lobster later? What are we talking about? Did somebody say endless shrimp platter? I got you. Cheesy biscuits? Come on. Let's go. Why not? Hey, let's see what happens. There it is. That's it, Brent.
I figured your pickup line would have been need a light.
As I get reprimanded at the golf course for offering a lighter. You can't smoke. Okay, the fans, can you smoke at a golf event? Brent, you should know this.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can.
Can you?
Why couldn't you? Outside?
Yeah, but it's like I mean, could you smoke at a Jaguars game?
That feels different.
How?
So maybe you couldn't. I would say this. Maybe you can't smoke. I don't know this.
Yeah.
Maybe you can't. But maybe you can't smoke at in a chalet or in the bleacher seats.
Sure.
But you could outside the ropes while you're walking.
Yeah, I mean, you are outside. I have no idea. Yeah.
That's a good question.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe they don't want the cigarette butts at the nice golf course.
Yeah, but anyways, I was
didn't
the prize
know anybody
here,
smoked anymore anyway. It was all vape.
That's a good point. But or just put a dip in if you have to get your fix, you know. But what? Okay. How much time we got left on the show? Okay. I'm just saying, Brent. Now, I'm not trying to come across as creepy or that guy or anything, but if for some reason the PGA Tour feels or the LPGA Tour feels a certain type of way and we can't smoke on this cigarette, and she breaks out a tin of some Copenhagen straight long cut and puts a big old Chosker right in her lip right there, I'm gonna get wherever she is. I'm gonna be like, okay, listen, what do you need? Because I can do it for you.
You're gonna need a restraining order.
I'll get a restraining order. If she puts a giant dip in her lip, I will have a restraining order in 2 months. I guarantee it. That's it. And then we're going to call Fair and Fair to help me out. Hey, so restraining orders. Are there ways around them or not?
We're kidding. We're kidding.
We're joking.
That'll hold up in court. Z. Fortner, by the way, going through Austin's old tweets could be a segment. Remember some funny stuff back in the day. Probably right.
Yeah, Joe Cullen felt a certain type of way about a lot of those tweets.
But maybe Daniel Kilkenny has a better one. Agreed. Going through Brent's Twitter would have to be its own channel. You know, we're looking for ways to get programming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. How about just from like midnight to 6 in the morning? Brent's Twitter.
It's too much. You know how they sometimes like they put music in the Library of Congress? Yours wouldn't even fit in the library, man. Your hard drive would be so big; it'd be its own separate like library of Brent's tweets.
How many tweets do you have?
Can you tell?
Can you find it?
I don't know how to look at it. How many do you have?
I thought you could find these things.
Yeah, well, now it's all. Oh, by the way, did you see the breaking? Well, this happened last night, but the breaking news from Elon and X, Twitter.
No,
they're allowing adult content on now.
Really?
Yeah. So there we go.
Really?
Seriously? Yeah.
So like that.
Do you ever go on Twitter anymore?
Was
man?
that Edmonton Oilers thing that debuted?
Well, I feel like the reason why we're seeing that Edmonton Oilers thing a lot is probably because of the new like rules and regulations.
Wow, I'm a little surprised at that.
I don't know, man. It's wild.
No holds barred. All right, we got to go. So. Whataburger Wednesday tomorrow. Brent Austen Show. We'll be back tomorrow, 10 a.m. Have a great Tuesday, everybody. After the game is at 2 o'clock.